Hey, welcome to the podcast. This is Bristol Real, and I'm Val. This week we decided to sit down and have a conversation about some pretty interesting Google X projects, like the self-driving cars, Project Loon, also a bit about Google Glass. We also talked about politics for a fair while, kind of fitting time in the UK at the moment. Tom couldn't join us for this episode as he's on holiday at the moment, but yeah, hope you enjoy the episode.
Which ones did you find? Because I thought they had a lot more projects than
They have loads of projects,
but they have they have like 5 official ones, don't they?
And it's not official. It's just they keep them secret, most of them.
Yeah.
The main ones that everybody knows about is the Google car, the Google Glass stuff.
Yeah.
And Project Loon, which is some people know about.
Yeah, the internet service balloons.
Yeah, it's not as popular, but I guess if you read kind of the Verge and stuff like that,
then you'll come across it.
Yeah.
And then there were 2 other ones. I didn't actually realize there's one that they have called Project Wing,
which
is like Amazon's drone delivery service.
But they were big drones though.
Yeah, much bigger. And then on top of that, there's Google contact lenses, which are apparently their sole purpose is to monitor glucose in tears. So that's pretty cool.
I think that's what they do currently, but I imagine that they're working on trying to do the Google Glass thing with a contact lens. Yeah. That would be the ultimate.
No, I said earlier, they have this ethos there where they say their motto is like fail quickly.
Yeah.
So they go for the really, really massive problems that affect billions of people, and that's their words. And then they try and solve it, and if they can't solve it within a couple of days using a particular technique, then they'll just give up on that and look at something else.
Yeah, it's that guy, Astro Teller, I think is his name.
Yeah.
He's the guy who runs it. He's like an inventor and business guy. Yeah. But I think something he said that was like they go for science fiction inspired.
Exactly,
solutions.
Yeah. They say every single invention or concept must have at least one science fiction element to it. Yeah. And they refer to the projects as moonshots too, because they're simply
this guy's like on his business card, it's Captain of Moonshots.
Yeah.
Is his like role. But yeah, I don't know. We haven't actually said it. This is the Google X Labs.
Google X Labs, and the X actually stands for 10.
Does it? Well, what is it?
That's what it was saying the other day. It said there's no definite thing meaning to it. I mean, you'd think maybe experiment, but
what does it represent though? The 10.
The 10 is they're looking at inventions that won't have an impact now.
Oh, scale of 10 factor. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
They talked about that.
Yeah.
They want to improve things by factor of 10.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That
makes sense.
So that's what a couple of the employees said. And actually, I was reading the biographies, the backstories of some of the employees. They were talking about that. One guy, a recent employee of theirs, he built a helicopter in his spare time in evenings and weekends over 5 years, and then it actually flew, and he took it out frequently. That was pretty cool.
The Google X is basically it's Google's sort of innovation lab where they try and come up with solutions to problems that affect like a huge majority of the world. So like one of them is the Project Loon, which is a way of because currently 2/3 of the world's population have no access to the internet. So they're working on building these balloons that float in the stratosphere, which is, I think it's twice the height of planes, and it will connect. It will allow people in rural areas who aren't currently connected to the internet to actually be connected. And the good thing about them is that they can be controlled to move in different areas depending on where they're needed. So if there's a natural disaster and they lose connection to the mainframe, they can push them closer to that area and let people reconnect.
Yeah, that's exactly it. A lot of this stuff seems really altruistic, but then when you think about it, it's actually not. In another article I was reading the other day, they pointed out that this stuff actually you have more people accessing the internet, so you have more people using Google services, and given that Google provide basically almost all of the internet's advertisements, it's just going to make them more money. But it's definitely the best sort of business plan, I think. One that actually has an impact. Yeah, it's a good one. Oh yeah, they worked on hoverboards for a while.
Hoverboards.
Yeah, they did that briefly.
I didn't read about. They know they did a jetpack.
Yeah.
But they said it was way too power inefficient, and so they just cancelled it. But yeah, I mean they also. We can talk a bit about self-driving cars in general as well.
Oh yeah, okay, go on. We mentioned it a couple of weeks ago when we did the AI episode, so I guess we'll go back to that.
I mean, that's kind of done well on iTunes, what it says. So
really,
it's
people actually care.
It's our most downloaded episode, the AI one.
Interesting.
At least that's what iTunes said, but iTunes can be a little dodgy, so I don't know yet. Maybe they just haven't updated the newer ones.
Maybe. Have you read? Sorry, this is just to go back to Astro Teller, the guy who directs Google X. He says he's published a second novel, sold as a movie to Paramount, placed many blah 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 blah, and then it's called it's a non-fiction work called Sacred Cows, and it's about our society's confusions about marriage and divorce. So it's clearly quite a Renaissance man in what he does. Yeah, I think that's typical of the people who work there, though. They're definitely like makers. They're people who actually do stuff. Yeah,
that's what they look for. Yeah,
esoteric.
I mean, it's not your typical job, is it?
No. Yeah, really cool stuff. Shit, what were we going to talk about?
Driverless cars.
Oh yeah, we can go and do that.
Driverless cars, self-driving cars.
Self-driving cars.
But like, I think it's worth sort of
pointing out how ugly the Mercedes autonomous car at the Geneva
I
Motor
don't know.
Convention
I don't
unveiled
know.
was.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's worth pointing out first, though, the difference in self-driving and autonomous, because the kind of technology behind self-driving has been around for kind of a while now. So the basic, cruise control, things like that. So you're going down the motorway, you can take your hand off the steering wheel, and it'll sort of. Well, you can, but you're not supposed to, but then it'll keep driving
you engage it, and then you actually can take your foot off the pedal.
And then, like, the Range Rovers now can kind of stay in line, I think, on the motorway. So you
can have a convoy of Range Rovers?
No, like the motorway, the Range Rover can see...
I'm thinking of the wrong lines, okay.
You can see the motorway on like, lines on the road and stay in the correct... So if there's a turn, it won't do sharp turns, but it can kind of follow it.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Google car is an autonomous. So it has no, at least the current version, it has no steering wheel, no gas pedals or anything. But and there's actually a funny thing. They've never had a crash. They've only had a crash once. Okay. But the one time it crashed was when it did have a steering wheel and then one guy was driving it manually.
Yeah. That doesn't really surprise me.
Since they've taken the steering wheel off, it hasn't crashed once, and I think they've clocked over 1 million kilometers now.
That's the one in what's it called?
San Francisco.
Yeah.
The Google car.
Yeah, the Google car, and then obviously they're rolling stuff out in Coventry, Bristol, and Greenwich.
And London, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, isn't Greenwich in London?
Well, yeah. Sort of,
okay then. I was just checking. Yeah. I'm not really sure what's in London and what's not.
I don't know. Is it? Well, I don't know.
Greenwich is in London. It's like at the heart of London, I think. Just a sec. Let's detour for a moment and check this. Greenwich is a district of southeast London, located in the Royal Borough of Greenwich and situated 5.5 miles east-southeast of Charing Cross. It's currently 8 degrees there. Centigrade, that is.
Okay. Great.
Moving back to autonomous cars, though, it's what we said on the AI. Actually, this is the thing that I always push when I talk about autonomous cars with people. I always think of them having. It's like you can see it with the Mercedes model that I'm looking at the moment. Actually, if you look it up, it's more like a living room. You have these
the Mercedes,
super plush
the F105, I think it is.
Yeah, I think that is it. I mean, it looks like that really trashy cover art that you'd get on old sci-fi novels.
I don't know, like it's okay.
Look at it.
It's nothing like what they make now, obviously, but
it's different. I appreciate that they try to do something different, and I like that.
I mean, like I think what makes it look weird is that they've pushed out the wheels to be as far away as possible, just to create more space.
Yeah, so it is a single chassis. Well, the interior is just like a proper room style thing.
Rather than having like a wheel just sticking up.
Yeah, so you don't have the wheel arch in the car.
Yeah. I think that's what makes it look weird, like the shape of it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of makes it a little wider than it's supposed to be. But it has some cool technology in it.
It does. I like the road crossing
The light,
technology.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Please cross or whatever it does when you stop at the lights. So and then the lights track them as they go across, so it knows it recognizes them. Yeah, pretty cool. Personally, if I would have an autonomous car, though, I'd want to have the entire upper shell glass, or at least see-through. Obviously, you wouldn't have it as glass.
It is, isn't it? For that
No,
one?
for this one, it's not.
It's not.
It's got like I don't know. Maybe it's only one-way stuff. Probably is.
I know there. I think it was the. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was a Corvette or something like that, or maybe a Chevrolet. I think it began with a C.
Okay.
The car. The Verge covered it. I think it was Chris Ziegler.
Okay.
It has a kind of a full window glass around your head.
Are you talking about the Bolt?
No.
Okay. Because
and so you can see the surrounding.
Yeah.
Then it has screens kind of just under where your normal window would be.
Okay.
And they can project any landscape. So
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So like you see the landscape you're in, but then you can also have like a, I don't know, it has like, I'm trying to do it with my hand, but this so like where your knees are.
Yeah.
All around the internal of the car.
Yeah.
Are screens, and you can see that out like any other projected surroundings. So you can have like a desert.
Wait, so it goes all the way. Is it above your knees?
No,
your knees and upwards then.
You have windows where they normally are.
Yeah.
And you can see outside.
Okay.
But then around the bottom, sort of just under the window, where there's usually like the holders or something in the door.
Yeah.
They have screens, and you can choose what's on there.
Oh, okay. Surely that'd be a little bit disconcerting if you'd be
too
driving
things.
through somewhere like, I don't know, Croydon, and then you can see the Nevada desert or something like flying past. Does it go at the same speed that you're driving, actually?
Probably.
That would be pretty cool. Otherwise, you'd probably get pretty bad motion sickness,
weird,
wouldn't you? But no, the Chevrolet Bolt. I think I don't know if I did mention this on one of the podcasts.
Yeah.
And I showed you the advert, and it was just shockingly bad. But no, try and find that. It might be a Camaro. I'll take a look at that. Yeah, but actually the car that they are rolling out in Greenwich, it looks a bit like a smart car.
Oh, it looks horrible.
Yeah.
It looks terrible.
I think I would definitely prefer the Defender that Bristol's getting.
Yeah, it's a BAE military Jeep.
Yeah.
Rather than building like an autonomous vehicle from scratch, they're taking an old military Jeep and just kind of putting the sensors and cameras on it, and letting it drive around and see how it copes with that. But also Tesla. I think Elon Musk recently announced that in a few months, the Tesla, the Model S, I think it's Model S, they're gonna, over the air software update, is gonna be able to now drive by itself.
Really?
And it's just a software update, which is crazy.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's self-steering.
Yeah.
Right now it's not self-steering, but they're just gonna send a software update, and now we'll be able to do that, which I find crazy.
When you say self-steering, do you mean that limited self-control stuff? What do you mean full autonomy?
I don't think it's full autonomy.
The legal stuff.
They didn't cover it completely.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine it's like what they showed with the CES this year.
Yeah.
Where it can come pick you up, or it can
Oh, I love that.
park by itself, or things
proper
like that.
James Bond style thing. I saw that with the BMW actually. I can't remember which model it was, but I'm looking at the but you can see this here, the Audi RS7, saying it topped 149 miles an hour at Hockenheim racetrack. So fastest autonomous car on the planet, they claim. I don't know if that's true anymore, but it's a sweet looking car. Have you seen the new Audi R8?
No, I haven't.
Beautiful. I don't want this just to be talking about cars, but while we're on the topic, we may as well go into that. And actually, I think it might be the new Audi A7. It looks so much like an Aston Martin. It's unbelievable. But anyway, moving on. We'll move back to the Google X stuff, shall we? Okay.
I mean, we can just talk about the self-driving footage a little bit more, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, would you get in a self-driving car?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
everybody would.
I don't know if everybody would.
I think
Right now,
it'll be just like with mobile phones. People say, "Oh, I don't want to have it on me all the time. I want to be able to leave my worries at home." Every single person has one now.
Yeah,
regardless of age, they'll all have a
it's the
smartphone.
future, yeah. But right now, I don't.
Oh,
think
not at the
people
moment.
are
But people are definitely coming around to it. I was talking to my parents the other day about it, and these were people who were like, "Oh no, I'd always want to be in control of the vehicle." And then I was like, "You do
Yeah.
realize they'll just become living rooms?" And they're like, "Yeah, we know that now." And
Yeah.
so
I like in terms of the future, it's gonna be like. I don't think you're gonna really own a car.
yeah,
Anymore.
this
I
is
think-
what Tom said on the
Yeah,
AI episode.
We
wasn't
were
it?
talking about that. It's gonna be like an Uber, but for self-driving cars. So when you need one, you just go on your smartphone, you call it, and it'll come pick you up.
And then you pay the taxi fare, probably
Yeah.
wirelessly or something.
Um,
Which is both good and bad, because I think one of the really great things about owning a car, even though I've never owned a car, is that freedom you get, where you can you know that you can just drive anywhere whenever you like. So you can do a road trip, or you can go to the beach, or something like that. And it's that sense of ownership and the intimacy you get with having that one car. Whereas if you had an Uber style service, you wouldn't get that because all the cars are different. So
yeah, but people. Like some people will still own cars and
Yeah.
stuff. Like,
but they'll become more of a
stay.
luxury good than they are.
Yeah,
at the
I
moment.
think it's mainly like right now most people own cars rather than use the Uber.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna flip the other way. So most people use Uber and
If
but
that
like-
does happen, do you think? So, will it just be that public transport and personal transport just end up coalescing into this one entity?
I mean, public transport, as in like council run.
So,
thing,
like,
or-
say the buses that run around here, say 16 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean the buses are they're more efficient, aren't they? For
They're a lot more efficient for a large
transport
number
more
of people
people.
because they can use the bus lanes and things. But if you have an autonomous driving network, then your traffic problems become very
it'll be
very
much
straightforward.
Quicker, yeah,
Yeah.
the travel time will be better. But I don't know, like public transport.
it'll actually have connotations for non-automotive transport. So, say cycling would be a lot safer.
Yeah,
People would stop getting hit by truck drivers.
yeah.
For example, even just having a machine vision module on the front of a truck so that it could detect, say, a high-vis jacket or even just the form of a bike would save countless numbers of lives every single year, which is really cool to just think that something so simple would be able to sort that out.
For the truck drivers, like that's one of the problems, isn't it?
Yeah,
In
this
terms
is
of-
what
so
I think I mentioned that when we did it, and it was like I said then, it was mentioned on the Future of Life letter. That's the one signed by Elon Musk.
What are
And
truck
walking.
drivers going to do instead? And
Yeah,
I mean, like, in terms of, I don't think it's going to completely, like, autonomous vehicles will completely eliminate kind of people.
human. Yeah, well, exactly.
Human-driven cars.
There are
because-
always those little niches
yeah,
of
like there
interaction that computers just can't quite get.
No,
So-
not that they can't drive it, but as in people are still going to own cars they drive. They'll be like the fans of them.
Mhm.
So, you know, the people who want to tinker with their cars, they'll own a proper.
Yeah, so it's like motorcyclists or chopper
Yeah.
owners or whatever,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I was talking about when I say that they'll be able to fill in those niche actions, is where, say, you're driving to a depot where they don't have an automated reception system.
Mm.
So I imagine if you had a high-tech proper system, you'd get the stuff automated, loaded on by an autonomous system, and then the car would drive by itself there and then drop the stuff off, and that would be received by a robot or whatever. But then you're inevitably going to be delivering stuff where there isn't autonomous systems available. There aren't autonomous systems available, sorry.
That's true.
So you might
that's
still
prob-
find that.
that's
So it'll
probably-
become an assistive technology.
That's probably the biggest challenge for the companies who are designing how to figure
Yeah.
out how to interact with both autonomous and human, because humans
Yeah.
aren't particularly predictable. Are they?
Especially if it's a truck driver, because truck drivers literally drive thousands and thousands of miles. So you can end up going to an incredibly isolated rural spot where people don't really understand technology or they're not accustomed to it.
Yeah.
So I think, it definitely, for quite a long time, you'll see it becoming a hugely assistive part of truck driving, but it won't replace truck drivers anytime soon. Apart from maybe on between cities maybe, but not those extra routes.
well, it'll just be kind of like most pieces of technology. It'll roll out in the main kind of rich countries, more technology advanced, and then 20 years later, the other countries will get it.
Yeah.
Just
Actually, I've been reading a book on this. I can't. What is it? The End of Poverty, it's called, and it's got a foreword by Bono, and it's by Jeffrey Sachs, an economist in the United States, and he was saying that the problem with technology is that your technologically advanced countries will always be so far ahead because it's a perpetuating cycle. Like you have technology, so your economy grows and grows, and it's an exponential thing. It really is. So those countries will get that technology 20 years later, but by that time, its economic impact will be severely reduced. So, yeah. But that's completely another topic, so we won't go into that right now, I think. But just food for thought. Anything else to say on autonomous cars? Have you seen any other projects in the UK or any businesses that are doing it? Have a quick Google.
Not really. I think the main news was that the government put 19 million pounds into those 3 projects.
Yeah.
So the one in Bristol is that military jeep that BAE are running, which we mentioned, and then in London it's the smart car esque thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also like a sort of those shopping center, those carts they transport the old people around. It looks like sort of like a golf cart for 8 people.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
There's one of those which is self-driving as well.
Oh, okay.
Which is one of the 3.
Yeah.
The government are funding.
They'll definitely come in those minor applications like rapid transport systems, so like at Heathrow.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Oh yeah, I think Arab actually did the Heathrow.
They did work on that, didn't they? I think University of Bristol was quite tightly involved with that.
Yeah.
But the thing with high-speed transport system is that they don't really work. From an economic standpoint, they don't make that much sense. Apparently, or so I'm told. There are some enthusiasts.
Well, yeah, that's the thing with the Hyperloop. You need quite a big distance for it to actually be worth it.
God, I want the Hyperloop to work.
They're
going through with it.
Yeah, well, they're working. 3 different people, like Elon Musk. I think he said he's starting to work on it now.
Okay.
So they're building.
They're building the test rig in Texas, isn't it?
I think it's Texas. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another company are building a larger scale one than him.
Okay.
I don't know how far.
Wait, hasn't he got the idea copyrighted or anything?
I don't think so.
Oh wait, he put the technology in public domain when he released that document.
He just wrote the document and just released it to everyone.
Oh, okay.
Because at the time he said he was too busy with all his other companies.
I have this really valuable technology that I really can't be bothered to do at the moment. So here you go, guys. You can do it.
He just put it out to see if anyone else would pick it up. But.
That's great. No, if that gets installed, no kidding, I will pay the flight fee and I will be one of the first people to write that. Mark my words. You heard it here. Okay, here's another one in The Guardian saying Volvo are testing autonomous vehicles in Sweden. That's by 2017, so you have 100 semi-autonomous things. So you still have a wheel in there for people to take over. But they will be autonomous stuff. So... I mean, it's definitely coming. By 2020, you'll start to see it.
That'll be the transition stage. It won't be like the Google. Google is probably more of a research. They're gonna first go with the steering wheel just so people actually buy the thing. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, kind of consumers will be scared, I guess.
Yeah.
And then eventually, they'll remove the steering wheel, and then the machines will have power over us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And be able to crash if they want. Oh, that's actually another thing. Like, I think we talked about it in the ethics.
The ethics one. Oh,
so
man.
if it does crash, who's responsible for it?
Who would you blame if it crashed?
I literally have no idea. Probably the manufacturer. Because if there's no steering wheel, it is the manufacturer's fault.
What if you have to get it? I suppose MOTs maybe automatic error checking on startup. You'd have that, no doubt. So you test all the systems. I don't know. Maybe that'd be a way to do it.
But I think the easy is that if there is no steering wheel on it and there is no gas pedal, then it's the manufacturer's fault.
Mm-hmm.
But the stage before that, like we said, if there is a steering wheel and it can be autonomous sometimes, and sometimes you can drive yourself, then I think that's where the problem is in deciding who is blamed for it. Yeah. Because if you crash, then most people will say, "Oh, I wasn't driving." It was.
It's the manufacturer's fault, or is it the people who developed the software, or whatever behind it? And the thing is if it's a software error or a mechanical error, so say in some cars where your brakes fail for whatever reason, who do you blame then? Well, who do you blame in that situation? Because you might be able to draw parallels there. Do you blame the people who serviced your car? Google.
No. Well, I mean, if it breaks soon after you bought it, it is a manufacturer error usually, and they replace it.
Yeah.
Because it comes with a warranty and everything. But then after a certain amount of time, they don't cover anymore.
Yeah, well, you'd have to think about that too, wouldn't you? Because these things would have to be updated all the time. So there's no software that's now obsolete.
Yes, but the autonomous car will be constantly in contact with the company who...
But what about when it doesn't have a Wi-Fi connection or 3G, or, well, it would be 5G by then, but you know what I'm saying. What if it doesn't have that connection, so it can't update? So say if you were to drive your car out into a rural area and live there for a couple of years for whatever reason, and then you go back and your car isn't updated, and it might take a bit of a long time, so in that, say, 3 hours that you're on the highways and you don't have the updated software, could that have serious consequences? And I mean, it's just something for them to consider when they do it.
blame you for not updating it.
Yeah, do they blame you? Exactly.
Okay. I don't know, yeah.
Or do you think, actually, this is an interesting one, do you think the general public will have to educate themselves a bit more on the technology behind autonomous cars, or will it be another thing where they just put it down to effectively magic and just say, okay, it does this? Whereas with a car, many drivers actually understand the fundamental processes that go into the mechanics of a car. Do you think it would be the same? Yeah. People understand what a clutch does. Okay. I think that's a big leap. Like, that's pretty good for them, and they understand what stalling is and things. So,
well, yeah, because that's part of learning how to drive. But
exactly. So, do you think driving lessons in the future, will they have to understand, say, how to run a basic debug on it, or how to do factory reset, something like that, on the software, or to understand what the various error messages mean on a very basic level? So, just simple things.
Maybe. So you have to get a license to.
So you could have separate licenses.
So maybe it works. So you have to have at least one person in the vehicle who has a license
to understand. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, instead of getting a driver's license, you get a driverless license.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't be in a car unless somebody is with you who has that license.
Mm-hmm. And then actually, again, coming back to that driverless trucks thing, you could have the truck driver wouldn't only operate as a truck driver; he'd also operate as the mechanic and software or it's not software engineer, software technician for that vehicle. Yeah, so people say these jobs disappear, but
the software engineer, if you're a software engineer, you're not going to want to be.
You aren't going to be in a truck, yeah. But it's just you would probably do it wirelessly.
You'll have to teach the truck drivers how to be a software engineer as well,
or to be a technician at least. Yeah. And I mean that's perfectly feasible. Obviously, you wouldn't have one in every truck, but there will be jobs moving in to replace them. There won't be as many jobs. I'm not being naive about that, but yeah, it's really interesting.
Do you want to move on to?
Yeah, sure, go on then.
Wow, what?
Wait, hold on, because we're on autonomous. Wait, what is it?
Have we been recording for an hour? 1.5? Or is that?
No way.
I don't think so.
Has something screwed up on there?
Maybe. Anyway, let's just go.
Keep on going.
I don't think we haven't.
No, I watched Back to the Future 2.
Back to the Future.
Have you seen all three of them, or just one?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2015 is actually the year in which Back to the Future 2 is set.
With the Nike,
the Nike power laces and the power jacket and things. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then there's the flying cars stuff in there, so that's nice. And bionic implants.
Yeah.
That'll probably come about in the next couple of years. Well, not next couple of years. That's something I really want to see before I die. I want to be a 70-year-old man with the capacity to, rip a car in half.
Yeah.
That would be very cool. But I have no doubt that they'll limit the power feed. Hey, yeah. Do you reckon the speed limit will go up if you have proper full rollout of an autonomous vehicle? So,
if if all cars are autonomous, then yes. But if they're still cars, which if it's still legal to have a car that is, kind of human driven,
An analog car.
an
analog vehicle.
Then probably not, just because there's still a danger there. But if it is fully autonomous, all cars, then I imagine so. Yeah.
I mean, cars at the moment are heavily assistive.
Although in cities they'll probably stay the same because they're still pedestrians and
but I mean on highways.
highways. Yeah,
Or maybe you have dedicated lanes for different ones.
probably most
eventually.
likely. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I said, cars are heavily assistive at the moment. So you've got things like braking technologies, cruise control, that sort of stuff, and a shed load of electronics actually goes into modern vehicles. So it's not.
They are kind of they are self-driving cars
to an extent, especially automatic.
It's just kind of a pretty big spectrum of capabilities. So you start off with the very, very basic cruise control, which was sort of the original thing. I don't know, like a decade ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When cruise control first rolled out, and then you go all the way up to Google Car with no steering wheel or whatnot.
They have their own spoonerism for car computers. Haha, great stuff. No, I think it will ultimately be for the good. I definitely think that people will still want to drive cars, though.
There will be some people.
It seems hugely liberating to just go for a drive.
It's quite a sort of fan culture behind tinkering with cars and driving them as well. So that will always, I think, stay around. But,
definitely. Yeah, it'll be a lot like cycling then too. So rather than using it for, it's no longer serves a utilitarian purpose. Besides, it's more of a recreational thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to some of the other
Google
projects because they're good. Which one shall we do? I don't want to really do drone delivery because I find
most obvious is Google Glass.
This is interesting. Okay, I'm going to start this. I'm going to kick this off with an article I read. I can't remember where it was, but I've mentioned it to a couple of people before. People who had worn Google Glass, these were the people who bought it as like a dev package or whatever, and they wore it for like a year. They started seeing it in their dreams.
If you just tilt it up a bit more.
Oh, okay.
Like that, because you're up high. So, yeah.
Oh, is it actually like that rather than?
It picks up more directly.
Okay.
So if you just turn up a bit and
there we go. That's better. Anyway, as I was saying, people who were wearing Google Glass day in day out, they started seeing it in their dreams.
Google Glass.
Yeah, it's absolutely
Really?
crazy. I'll see if I can find the document because it was really, it was entertaining and incredibly frightening at the same time. That it would become so ingrained in their psyche that they would start to see it in their dreams. So
it's very strange.
Yeah, what do you know about it though? Well, we should probably talk about what it is first. So
it's basically a wearable computer. It's a glass, hence the name. Well, it's glasses, yeah. But when they came out, people got really kind of excited about it.
And then it's like
technology kind of fans at least. And then they had to cancel it recently because they were selling it to the public.
Yeah, I wouldn't really say cancel is the right word because it sounds like they've just stopped working on it.
Well, no, they've kind of pulled it back. They don't sell it anymore.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't doing particularly well, and they were very expensive. But the main thing was because they look so kind of futuristic. People felt really uncomfortable wearing them, and because it has a camera, and the thing is you can record whenever you want. So the public who weren't into glass and wanted their own privacy didn't really feel comfortable either with people walking around the street having them on.
Yeah, the camera thing it kind of bugs me too. It's that extra step. I mean, it's not actually that much of an extra step given how much CCTV there is in cities.
I mean, it seems like such a simple fix though. If you just have some sort of light that makes it really obvious that you're recording.
Yeah.
So at least people know, and then then at least you can go to them and ask them to remove footage of them.
Yeah, and I don't know. That I still have issue with that because you shouldn't have to ask someone when you go outside. You should have the freedom not to know that you're probably not going to be recorded by some stranger walking through, and you shouldn't have to go up to them and say, hey, I don't really want to be recorded. Please, could you delete that? And have to go through that whole thing because you'll inevitably get some people say,
I mean, there's
no.
two things. So like, you don't expect it to be recorded, so somebody's like stalking you and literally just recording you.
Yeah.
But I mean, if say you're recording a friend or something, but there happens to be someone,
yeah, I guess
standing around, and then they I guess they technically have the right to ask them to delete it.
That? Yeah.
But it's kind of like you're in a public space. Why?
If you're in a major city, you get your picture taken loads anyway.
Exactly.
When you walk past a major landmark.
Then you can see some people actually getting annoyed that they were in it at all.
Yeah.
In the video or something. But then I guess I don't know. I mean, you're say if you're in a park or something, you should expect it really.
Yeah. And there's massive potential for abuse of that kind of technology.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
But same for any technology, I suppose.
But I don't know how they're gonna fix that. I don't know if it just needs to be some sort of like culture change or kind
Wait,
of.
what do you mean fix that?
Well, fix a problem of people not wanting
to be have their photo taken by strangers.
Not having their photo taken, but having something that kind of infiltrates your privacy so much so that it looks like people just get uncomfortable from people wearing it, even if they're not recording. Like
the real irony here is that GCHQ and then the NSA have all of this stuff
out of view, out of mind.
Regardless of where you put it on the internet, they will most likely have it, and they already know all about it.
So it is already out there. So most people just don't care,
and they don't comprehend when they're doing that stuff that it is just going straight to them.
But I don't know if it'll kind of heal over time, and people will, as technology gets even more and more kind of destroying your privacy, it'll sort of become the norm, and then the expectations change.
But as a society, we shouldn't let it get to the point where we just say, okay, we've abandoned privacy. We should definitely try and turn around and start to use technologies that don't.
Yeah, but then they're also working on contact lenses to do what Google Glass does,
which you won't be able to see. So, but you need to have that on all cameras. That's why you can't disable the shutter tone on your phone camera, because legally there's a requirement for people to recognize that you've taken a photo or recording.
But the surprising thing, just because people can't see it, they'll be fine with it. I think once they roll that out, even if they tell them that it's a contact lens and it can record, I don't think there'll be as much. Like there'll be some people who really hate it.
Yeah.
In fact, but I think they'll just wear off because you won't be able to see it when people are wearing it. Whereas the glass, the reason it stayed in the kind of cultural conversation was because people were walking around with it constantly and seeing it. Whereas the contact lens, once it rolls out, they make the announcement. There'll be the kind of the backlash, but then a few months maybe, then it'll all go away. Really.
Why do you think people care so much that they are being recorded or having their picture taken when they're just, I don't know, walking to the supermarket or walking their dog or playing in the park?
They feel like they're being watched.
Yeah, and in a sense they are, but then they're being watched. Like I said, they were being watched anyway. But then
but people, they don't want
literally being watched.
They don't want them. They like in terms of the NSA and stuff and GCHQ. People are against it, but they don't react as badly because there's not literally some person standing across the road looking at them.
Yeah, but all of this, everything on those videos and pictures will go online, and almost all of those images and videos will have associated GPS tags, which are in most modern phones. So you take your video or image and then you've got that data associated with it. So what you end up with is the Big Brother state, 1984, whatever, where the government has access to where every single person is, more or less, at every single moment in time, just because they have this enormous database of files to trawl through. I think that's the really, really worrying thing about it. It's not actually the technology itself or people taking pictures with it, it's who has access to those photos. Yeah, and as we've seen, all the major tech companies will hand out that information to governments, and the governments will vindicate it by saying it's
Google is actually one of the companies who push back against the government.
Come on, sure, they pushed back, inverted commas. Come on, they've handed out loads of information.
They have handed out information, but at least what the media says, which I don't know how much you can believe it.
Mm-hmm.
But they were one of the first few companies to actually
Point out that the government are doing it.
were doing it.
The only
and
time
trying
that the companies actually came out and said the government have been asking for their data,
was
at
once
least
it
on a
was
large scale,
released.
people recognize it, was
Yeah.
after the
Yeah.
NSA incident with Edward
Leaks.
Snowden. Yeah. No, they will definitely give out their information, and they can talk about it all they like, but
Yeah.
ultimately all they're trying to do is not to lose their customers and stay on the right side of them. Which is a shame, because it would be really cool to be able to actually have access to those moments in your life that you always want to remember, and you can just replay them over and over. Or actually, it could have negative
You
consequences.
just
there.
reminded me of I think I recommended on the on our Facebook chat for the podcast.
Yeah.
That TV show. The one I recommended.
Mirror something.
Black Mirror. That's the
Yeah.
one. It's so good. It's amazing.
Okay.
It's
I've been meaning to watch that because Tom watched it too, and he said so. So.
you'll really like it. There was literally an episode on sort of what you just mentioned. It's this chip that goes into that connects to your brain, and it records everything you see,
Mhm.
all your memories. So it's constantly recording, and you have this little sort of controller that, like a mini TV remote that goes into your pocket,
Mhm.
and you can just like beam it onto a screen, and you can like scroll through your footage, your life's footage,
Whoa.
and just watch it from your point of view. And then you can like search for people. So if you so say I record, I can search for Jerome, and then it will search. It'll show me all.
And it'll recognize
all the
scenes
memories,
that
yeah.
appear, and yeah, that's pretty cool.
And like that. That's like even the next stage, as in
Yeah.
that'd be so.
Would it be a good thing though? Because this is what I just
I
thought
don't
when I
think,
mentioned
I don't
it.
think it would be a good thing at all.
Because
I
when
think
you
that's-
have those experiences, you get that
it's-
adrenaline or serotonin rush where it feels absolutely amazing, and then it gets
It's so-
embedded as your
but
memory
it's
as a
so
beautiful thing.
dangerous though.
Yeah,
It's
I mean that too. But
yeah, it's really dangerous having the. I mean, if you watch a TV show, they do a really good job of, like the scenarios that they. I mean, like basically with the TV show, it's called Black Mirror. They do 3-episode seasons. They're about I think an hour the episodes, and they just they explore like the future of technology, but it's fiction, so they. It's fiction grounded in reality, so they'll pick some sort of science fiction technology and make like a short episode of like a short story of it. One of them was that, and then some sort of like game show where it's some person's life, and they have to like cycle the whole time to get points, and then the points they can use to buy things and get. It's weird.
Wow, that's absurd. It's got 8.8 stars on IMDb, which certainly attests to quality.
It's seriously good. It's really, really good. It's on Netflix. Like people who are listening, if you got Netflix, just go watch Black Mirror.
I know it.
Like they,
Sounds cool.
it's like the scenarios they come up with, you can see that actually happening if those technologies came about.
Mm-hmm.
And like I wouldn't be surprised if they do make that memory like storage chip, so it goes into your brain and it will just everything you see will constantly record it. And you
It
can
takes it, yeah.
it would be so dangerous though. Like that's literally no privacy. It's zero privacy at all.
Mm-hmm.
At least though in arguments, you can literally prove what something happened.
Why do we value privacy so much?
Because I mean, some people are extroverts and they're introverts. Some people like kind of being. They prefer.
Why do we want people not to know everything that we've done? Because everything that we've done isn't all.
It's none of their business, really.
Why is it none of their business? So that's just like teleological argument there. Like the purpose of privacy is privacy itself. No, come on. The reason so many people like their privacy is because we've all done things we're not proud of, and we all want to show the rest of the world.
I don't think so.
Really? Okay.
No.
Why do you value your privacy then? Try and explain why you don't like people knowing what your internet history is just off the.
It's not like I don't like people know my internet history. It's more of, at least in this case,
Mm-hmm.
being by yourself is sometimes like that. I think that. What do you mean by privacy? Privacy is people
Being by yourself is
That's a form of
Would-
privacy.
Would you say it's a form of privacy? Like, I can be by myself and I'll still be on the internet, and therefore it's not really that private. Like, I won't be chatting with people or anything. I will just be reading, or say if I were reading an ebook online, that's still not strictly speaking private, so to speak, because I'm connected with the outside world. But I am by myself. I consider it relaxing in the way that I guess a private situation would be.
Mm.
Or what do we mean by privacy, I guess? So do you mean
The ability. I don't know.
Oxford Dictionary? Hold on. We're gonna do this. I'm just curious to know. Like, I know it's kind of heavy, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't have privacy. I absolutely think that we should. I just, how do people say it? Like, they say it's none of their business, but why?
Why? Why can't you have some time where? Why? But why not? Why not have certain things which
Don't go to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Because that gives you the opportunity to do things that are awful. But then on the other hand, I'm just trying, like, you can see there is an argument there for saying there are bad things that can happen when you have privacy.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking about what are the good things. Is it, to me, I think it's the knowing that you are alone and that you can simply look inside your head and you can have that independent development, independent dialogue that is so valuable to being human. Or what's that expression? God damn it. Oh, that was it. Shit. No, it just slipped my mind again. You know, it's that one. It's everybody uses it really sarcastically, but it is quite an accurate phrase for it. What is it?
What are you trying to describe?
The human condition.
Oh,
There you go.
okay.
Came out with it. That was it. But I think that's what it is.
But yeah,
What would you say to that?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's that because people, you get to be yourself when you know nobody is around you or you're not being directly watched.
Yeah.
Obviously, that your internet history, whatever, you are technically being watched in inverted commas.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're kind of in a room and there's no camera, say, recording you, CCTV in your own room, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's actually interesting reading the Wikipedia here. So one of the captions to the photographs is it's a CCTV camera, and it says in some situations privacy may be lessened by surveillance. So it only says some situations. It doesn't say all situations, which is kind of cool. I guess you had if it was your CCTV, then only you have access to it. So therefore it's still private.
It might be private, yes, but I don't think it, like, mentally, maybe subconsciously, you won't feel the same if there was no camera. I don't think I think it will still affect you.
Yeah.
The way you behave, the things you do. Like, you might, even though you know that nobody else has access to the camera, it's just you.
You want to influence how you yourself.
You might think twice about doing something.
Yeah.
Just because you're being recorded, even though it is by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably a bad thing.
Yeah, because I mean, privacy gives you the opportunity to do those things that you wouldn't do otherwise. So do you think that maybe that would abolish part of
and also the
primal nature?
The second thing is that it's just good to kind of detach from technology, from like for part of your day, really.
Yeah.
It's just good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation or...
I wonder how many research papers there are on this. Definitely something to look into. And it's worth reading the wiki too. It's actually kind of interesting how they phrase things. So, yeah. But anyway, what other technologies? I mean, that's Google Glass. I did find that document on The Guardian in the end. It was a lady from... Oh no, it was a man, sorry. Man had been using the technology for around 18 hours a day, removing it only to sleep and wash, and complained of feeling irritable and argumentative without the device. In the 2 months since he bought the device, he had also begun experiencing his dreams as if viewed through the device's small grey window. So there you go. That's a possible consequence of using Google Glass. Overuse. I mean, 18 hours a day. That's crazy. But yeah, it's internet addiction, and people will get addicted to these things, but what can you do, guys? It's just humanity, I guess. I'm not really that blasé about people abusing technology, but we won't go into it. Okay, there's Project Loon. I mean, we mentioned the great impact that like the post-disaster. That's
That's
really
probably
good use for it.
their best kind of the most
Altruistic thing that they've
influential
done.
project that they've got. And I think they've actually started rolling it out. They did the tests in Canterbury, New Zealand, I think it was.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty rural area around there. And they got good results. But I think I watched a video on The Verge again.
Mm-hmm.
The Verge went to their headquarters and they saw how the balloons get set up and stuff, and they were still having problems with them. What do you call them? Exploding, sort of.
What do you call it? Exploding? What the hell do you mean? What, do they use hydrogen in these things or something?
Not exploding, but like
Crap,
bursting. The balloon bursting
okay.
before it gets released. I think they feed it in too quickly or something. I can't quite remember, but they still have problems with actually launching them.
Mm-hmm.
If they get it to work, that would be, that would help so much connecting the rest of the world. Because it's still kind of crazy to think that 2/3 of the world has no access to the internet.
Yeah.
And if Project Loon actually works, that would be a pretty brilliant way of connecting the world together.
Mm-hmm. Do you not think it would just end up leading to more economic disparity, though? Because
Project Loon?
Yeah.
Why? How?
Well, if you have an enormous surge of people who haven't had access to this technology before, and they want to use the best services available, then it's not going to be the people who've just got the internet that are going to develop those companies that are that are the mainstream companies like Google or Apple or whatever. People.
Well, you can't just leave them behind. I mean,
My point is, I'm not saying you shouldn't connect them. I'm just saying that maybe it's not going to. Sorry, there's been something implied here which I didn't point out. To me, it implies saying that you're going to provide Wi-Fi access to the third world or to impoverished countries. That is implied that these countries will have more capacity for innovation and economic growth. That's not really. That's a rhetoric.
Well,
that's a rhetorical question.
Well, no, of course they will. If they don't have the internet, and if they don't have access to the internet, that's going to create even more economic disparity.
Because communication improves that. But my point is that what you end up with is the big companies that already exist and already have the best internet services available will just get an even bigger boost from all these additional people using their networks, and will therefore become wealthier and wealthier relative to those new countries who've only just got it. So
relative to the new countries, but
they will have more economic growth, but relatively speaking, it might not be as large as people think, because the rich countries just get richer because the poor countries are using the rich countries' companies' services. So it doesn't actually change the grand scale of things that much, maybe.
Well, no,
actually,
hold on. No. It does change.
I've done a net zero calculation.
No. It does change a scale, but maybe the difference will be larger between the countries. But
the issue here is economic disparity, not overall well-being.
But the third world country will kind of
it will get better,
which
is really, really important. And I'm sorry, I did make a mistake there of doing that stupid net zero calculation that people do when they say, "Oh, what's out of the poor? What's into the rich countries' pockets, out of the poor's?" That's foolish. But But my issue was the difference in wealth between the two, and it will improve things in the poor countries, and it will improve things in the rich countries. But ultimately, if it leads to better quality of life for everyone, then that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, anything else? I guess talk about the Google X stuff.
Other Google X stuff. What is that? There's delivery drones. Not going to happen anytime soon. Nobody wants to see.
One thing I'm surprised that they're not working on. At least I don't know. Maybe they are working on it. At least they haven't mentioned is their own virtual reality headset.
They're working on it. They must have their fingers in something.
They did the Google Cardboard thing.
That's crap.
No. It's good if you buy it from them. It's like $10. You can buy one, so it's really. Apparently, it's really, really good.
Apparently, according to that Google enthusiast on Reddit.
No, according to I don't know. Have you seen Unbox Therapy? The guy on YouTube.
No,
he does technology stuff.
What is it? Just unboxings?
Well, originally, yeah,
that
but now he does reviews and stuff, and But yeah, he did like a test with one of the Google Cardboard things, and he said it's surprisingly good for
the fact it's $10 relative to what
cost,
is it like
and
the
that it's
$1,000
literally
for
and that it's
Oculus?
literally made out of cardboard.
Yeah.
But he said it's pretty good, and you can get like an app, at least on Android, that connects
so it's like a
through
bifocal
NFC,
thing.
and I think if you move your head as well, it registers that or something like that
Okay.
from the what do you call it?
Heads up display.
No, the thing inside the phone, that
Accelerometer.
accelerometer.
It's actually accelerometer gyroscope combination.
Okay,
There you go.
But yeah, I imagine they are working on it.
Mm. Yeah, no doubt they are.
Did they try and buy Oculus before Facebook, and then they said no, or is it Facebook straight?
I think Facebook went straight out like demolished. I mean, I'd heard about Oculus before Facebook bought it.
No, I know Facebook bought it, but I don't know if it was like like they are competing to buy Oculus with Google.
I'll look it up.
I think
I just spelled Oculus
it might
wrong.
have.
Oh no, they were competing.
Right, so then that might mean they weren't working on an Oculus, like a virtual reality headset at that time.
Maybe they are now though, given that they
They
didn't.
didn't get it, yeah.
How did they follow up with it? Or just type in Google VR, I guess. And well, that'll come up with Google Cardboard, but they must be doing other stuff.
Because like even Microsoft did. So you'd
Yeah.
expect Google to be
Actually,
working.
Microsoft have been surprisingly innovative. With
Yes,
it. It's like we said before,
since
HoloLens is
Satya
cool.
Nadella became CEO, they've changed a bit.
Yeah.
They've improved. Yeah, the HoloLens stuff is pretty cool.
Beyond Google. Personally, I don't really get VR. It's just so solitary.
The
for
VR will
the
be
most connected age.
the VR
in
will be
history.
like more of kind of a gaming thing. So
Yeah,
just
it
to
will
have
definitely
fun.
become a hardcore game.
maybe to
thing,
watch
yeah.
when you're watching movies by yourself,
Which
put that
which
on.
you do sometimes, but ultimately watching movies is better with other people. So
Yeah, but like I might be used for it.
yeah.
Augmented reality I think is going to be more of a popular thing.
Mm-hmm.
You could play you could play Minecraft with other people.
Man, that would be lame. Sorry.
No, as
I
in-
see what you're saying.
As in that's what they've got. They did one of their tests was the
Really?
Minecraft thing.
Oh,
the
cool.
HoloLens.
Okay.
So it was like Minecraft on like he blew a hole in one of the walls.
Cool.
And then it was like a Minecraft world through the kind of hole in the wall, and then he made he like what do you call it? Like put a
Wrote a pig?
Minecraft castle
Okay.
on just sitting on the table,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
things like that.
Yeah. The thing that with all this technology though, we don't actually know the psychological consequences of it. Which I know sounds like being a party pooper, but
Yeah,
it's very true. If you have augmented reality, it will no doubt have a massive effect on our perception of the world. So it might be worth looking into.
Just now, like with children with iPads and things like that,
Yeah.
you're seeing it affect them socially. I think maybe.
Yeah. It's that conservative mindset of like humanity, though, isn't it? It's like if your generation didn't do it, you think it's a negative thing that they're not doing it, and it's been like that forever, and everybody's gotten on okay. But how do we identify when it isn't okay?
When it
Do we
isn't
have a bar?
But like the social aspects of kind of like being around people is important. People, we know that.
Massively important, yeah.
But with the iPad and stuff, that kind of destroys it.
Yeah.
Which is a bad thing.
Although that be, I don't know, maybe for young children, what did you do when I was a kid? When I was a kid, I went outside and played football. I played video games with my brother too, but that was on PS2, so it wasn't online.
Yeah, but the thing with the iPad is different though, is because like I think I was listening to some other podcasts and they mentioned it. I think it's called Millennial.
Mm-hmm.
Their new podcast, so they're pretty good. They have good production quality and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the iPad in cars. Like, maybe when we were younger, being in a car with siblings and stuff, you tend to kind of play around with them in the car, to joke, talk, whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas with now, you have iPads and they'll sit in the car.
Wait, hold on. This is perfect. My little sister, she's 13. My dad hated his iPad after an update, so he gave it to my sister. And then in the car the other day, we were going to the beach, and then I said to my sister, "Hey, do you want to compete on these games?" And they're single-player games, but we were doing high score things, and we were having a laugh about how well we could do or whatever. So it was still a really social interaction, even though it's a single-player device. And it's like when you were playing a PS2 game or whatever, and it's like all horse in football. It's only you kicking the ball or playing Tony Hawk's, but you're still there with someone else, like having fun. And I do agree with you that there is capacity for children to get absorbed into these
There's a
things.
difference between though playing the game on iPad and playing football and score.
What's the difference though?
It's not the same. Like
why? No, I see. Yeah,
because like digitally, like with iPads and stuff, I feel like it removes the conversation, sort of.
To an extent, I guess, because
Whereas
you can't see what's happening as well. Yeah, because there's something happening on that screen, and you're not quite sure what it is.
Whereas
without having to lean over into their face.
When you're playing like football, it's sort of I guess you're doing a physical activity.
Mm-hmm.
So like the reward, like just for the reward system by itself in the brain is different.
Yeah.
So that's I think completely different scenario. But if you're comparing it to being in a car with no iPad or anything and just talking to people, it is very different because you're talking about, I guess, surroundings or your day at school or whatever.
Yeah. Both very interesting topics.
Those are yeah.
No, I see what you're saying. I agree with you.
And
you do have that conversation.
Just having a conversation, though, I think if not having those conversations will affect the children, in the long term.
The development. See, we say the children and like this very generic term.
But fine. The current generation are growing up. Say from newborn to, I don't know, 10-year-old or whatever. Yeah. They're still in the car and they're kind of, say they have an iPad and they don't grow up with having those boring conversations. I
think that's discrediting the parents. There are so many good parents out there who will talk to their kids while they're in the car, or they'll encourage them not to use the iPad, and they'll set up reward systems when they don't use the iPad. Or any other similar sort of technology. So they'll say, okay, we're going to put the iPad away, but we're going to buy you a milkshake and we're going to have a chat, or something like that. Obviously, it doesn't need to be sugary.
That's a good thing. But then I'm saying the bad thing is that if they do have an iPad constantly when they're in the car and things like that, I think that will affect their development.
Mm-hmm. Maybe the novelty will wear off, you could say that, or I know the reward mechanisms are much more instantaneous and you just like get that lights going off in your brain, but if for our generation they were like exciting as hell. Yeah. So you would like stay up past midnight when you're like 10 years old playing on a Game Boy or something because it was mind-boggling how much fun this thing could be. Pokemon, but maybe but that's because when I was a kid, like we would have the PS1 and you'd use it for maybe 20 minutes a day. And then suddenly it just got better and better, and we weren't used to that, so we just ended up using it more and more, and we developed unhealthy habits associated with it.
Spend hours
exactly
on the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2.
Yeah, and you would do it. It's like when you're ill when you're a kid. Come on, everybody did it. Your parents would say, "Don't spend the whole day on the PlayStation," or "I'm taking the controllers with me," and then you're like, I know where the other ones are. Yeah. And then you'd play on it, and then you'd hear the car coming or whatever, and then you'd like turn it off, run back to your bed, hop in there, and pretend to be asleep. That's what everybody did. And I don't know, that was a great part of my childhood, I gotta admit. Reminiscing now, it was so much fun. But maybe the next generation this is what my point actually is that because they don't think of these things as being almost like forbidden fruit, that's such a bad analogy, but because it's not novel, unique, they're just like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. But to them, it's not really any different from going and playing football. Yeah. And also, come on, give credit to the kids too. Hold on, credit to the kids. They don't play it by themselves. All of the like Minecraft, kids are obsessed with that, and they all play online together.
I'm not complaining about gaming, as in, when you're by yourself and you have that free time. Mm-hmm. That's obviously fine, but I'm saying in situations that would normally be social, it is about. I think
it kind of
it's a negative thing.
But it's like if you go to dinner with someone, it's rude. It is rude as hell to spend the whole time on your phone. Yeah. And so it applies to the whole of society and not just children. Children should obviously be protected far more because they're less accustomed to things and they don't know the consequences of some stuff. So they just need guidance, I'd say, rather than have the thing taken away.
But like another thing is like it's rude for us and the other generation when people take their phone on it, but then like maybe
For that one,
the
it
younger
won't be.
generation is
I
just
think it will be.
they don't even think about it. Like it's just
Yeah.
they pull it out and just text someone and then they put it away or something.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't even like think, oh, it's rude or it's not rude.
No,
like,
I think it
it's
sticks in there. Like again, using my sister as anecdotal evidence here, but
well, yeah, it's not.
she's got great ethics on this sort of stuff, and it's not going to be instantaneous. And I
It's
see what
not
you're
gonna- it's
saying,
gonna
but a couple of
take, you know,
generations time.
Yeah, maybe in a couple of generations, it's just completely normal.
I think even then, I think everybody just it's intrinsic for you to get pissed off when someone speaks to someone else while you're trying to talk to them. Yeah, unless you say excuse me for a moment and just need to send a text, that's fine. But
yeah,
but with Google Glass, for example,
you could just
you'd
be
say
talking,
excuse me, I need to send a text. Send message to John. Hey man, what's up? You want to hunt jellyfish this afternoon, or something like that? You know, that would be rude. You wouldn't do that, and that's what it'll be like in the future. Who knows? Wait, were we talking about?
We were talking about Project Loon, and then it got into this
Oh,
stuff.
okay. Yeah, because we were talking about the effects it had on things.
Um,
But Project Loon, Bristol, do you know what they're doing with that money that they got for Green Capital?
no.
I don't know if it is actually that money, but they're installing Wi-Fi and a bunch of lampposts between Temple Meads and
Really?
Centre. Yeah,
Okay.
I thought it's pretty
That's
cool.
quite cool. Yeah.
And they say they're going to invest in a bunch of bike trails too. This is actually in Bristol Cable that I was reading that.
Bike,
is definitely worth
bike
reading.
trails.
So actually improving the city's bike networks.
Yeah.
Like
It's
they
fun-
got Cycling City or something,
Yeah.
and then everybody was like, "Okay, how shit must the other cities be? Come on."
I mean, like I just got a bike recently, and
It's lethal.
what,
Absolutely deadly.
driving around.
You know,
riding
like
a bike.
near, what's it called?
I mean, it's
Beefeaters.
it's
That
generally
roundabout.
pretty good. In at
Bristol
least,
to Bath cycleway is great. Everything else.
no, in this sort of area in Bristol is generally quite good.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's some like weird thing. So there'll be a cycle, kind of
The cycle lane on the road.
the cycle
and they'll
lane on
just
the
stop.
road, and then suddenly they'll just stop.
Yeah.
And then the main road just keeps on going.
I think
Like
that speaks to the whole of Bristol's urban planning strategy, which seems to be
Yeah.
let's put all the roads in this one big lottery machine and see how they come out.
No, that's actually me and Tom went to sustainable. What was it?
Was it one of the ones at Frisker? The smart
no,
cities
no,
thing?
no. It was at the main lecture theatre in Queen's Building.
Pugsley.
Pugsley, yeah.
Yeah.
It was hosted by one of the.
Oh, the Google guy. No, I'm just
No,
cutting
no,
in.
no.
I'll stop.
It was hosted by one of like the engineer like the one of the organizations for engineers. I can't remember its name. It'll come at some point.
Okay.
But they talked about it. So one of the guys he's worked in urban planning, and he actually talked about how bad Bristol's kind of roads are.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Did he say there's a reason for it?
no, he didn't.
Okay.
Because he recently moved to Bristol,
Mhm.
and he kind of talked about how different that is, and it's extremely bad compared to other cities.
Yeah.
And that it, like in terms of public transport as well, it's a bit iffy as well.
Yeah, it's very odd, isn't it? Sometimes the bus routes are great, and then other times they're
Yeah.
shocking. Bristol to Bath, the connections are very good generally, I'd say. You've got the train, you've got the bus, you've got the cycle route.
You can walk,
You can walk. Yeah.
which
Yeah,
which we did.
we did do that. That's great. I don't know why you'd go from Bristol to Bath, though, unless you just go for a scenic day once a year. Every other time you're probably coming our way, so
Yeah.
it's always good.
I don't know what other things.
Was it the Institution of Civil Engineers? Highway Engineers? Structural Engineers?
I think it might have. I don't think it was,
ICE?
maybe.
Okay.
It's very possible.
I think it's kind of irrelevant. The fact that he
yeah.
points out that they're terrible, as has every single person who lives in Bristol. Yeah.
But they are working with the council and trying to improve this somehow. Like at
But
least
it's a really difficult thing to improve, though, because you
No, like
you
the-
can't
the-
just knock down buildings.
the
to solve
cycle
problems.
the cycle routes.
Oh, okay.
Fixing those because they're a bit weird on it.
Yeah, they're very
um,
inconsistent, like you said. It would be great. It would be so great to see Bristol turn into a proper cycling city. I remember reading something a couple of years back where they shut down all of the major roads, and then everybody like took slopes onto the street and played cricket and things.
Well, here in Bristol.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find an article on it because it was so cool, and I definitely want them to do it again. Bristol shut down roads, play cricket, sofas.
I like how Bristol does these kind of things.
It's
like,
so grassroots. I know we say it all the time, but Bristol is just so good for these
But
beautiful
it's
little
the
niche.
council. It's the council as well, isn't it?
Yeah, they do. They do support all this stuff. It's like the milk float thing we're working on. They don't have to do it yet. They don't do the bare minimum as so many councils do. They don't. They aren't happy with just keeping people satisfied. And I know they can't satisfy everyone, but they try.
Talking about politics and stuff. Did you watch the TV debate? Didn't you?
I watched the TV debate.
What do you think?
I thought Nicola Sturgeon was the best politician on there.
She was good. Yeah,
she was
good.
far better than any of the others, which are just quite frankly embarrassing.
She performed well, but like I don't know.
Yeah, she could actually speak about things clearly without just reverting to generic politics talk.
It's so annoying. They just. I don't like it how they try and say why you shouldn't vote for the other parties.
Yeah, I wish that would be banned. I know. It's like, Ed Miliband is a total wanker.
Yeah, they don't say what they want to do or like why they should vote. They say briefly, maybe like 10% of what they say is about that. And then the other 90% is why you shouldn't vote for David Cameron, why you shouldn't vote for a Miliband or Green Party or whatever.
Well, we're going to spend lots. We're not going to spend... Well, no. They don't phrase it like that, do they? They say, well, we're going to spend less than them, and we're going to spend more than them.
Have to always...
And we're going to spend the same amount as them.
I don't... Yeah, I mean... I guess, they have to do it. If other parties are doing that, they have to do that.
To differentiate themselves, but that's not differentiating themselves by... Because you can't actually build up a clear image of what the parties are going to do. I have no idea. I've tried to follow it.
If one person does that, though, the other person has to do that. Otherwise, it seems like they're just kind of... They're just backing off and not...
Yeah, but personally, I think I'd find someone a lot stronger if they didn't. Like, get drawn into these petty
David
arguments.
Cameron was the most annoying, though.
Come on, the mansion tax stuff and the
David Cameron and
bedroom tax.
Farage, they were...
Oh, well, obviously, I mean, Farage was a given. Come on, what was it like? Of this 2,700 people that come to the UK... the 2,700 people that get treated for HIV in the NHS.
Yeah.
Like, what, 50% of them are immigrants or something. And he's like...
Health tourism.
Literally, no kidding. He just said we shouldn't treat them.
I know.
That blew my mind that someone would say something so barbaric.
And
it was crazy. And then Nicola Sturgeon. This is why I really love her. How she replied. Yeah, Nicola Bennett and Nicola Sturgeon both had fantastic. They said they don't see a foreigner; they see a person, a human being.
David Cameron was just constantly. He was constantly talking about the past. It was.
Yeah. Look at what we've done over the last 5 years.
Look how well it was complete. It was like a cycle. So he would say, "Look how well we've done over the past, 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to stick with our plan.
Yeah.
So we can succeed with it." And then Miliband will say, "You haven't been doing well. It hasn't been a good plan.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you should vote for Labour."
And then
inevitably, and David Cameron will come back. No, but it is a good plan. This is what we've done. And it's just
Don't get me wrong. I like Labour and I think it's great, but I'm having trouble liking them at the moment because of Ed Miliband. I feel really bad for Ed Miliband. Did you see the Jeremy Paxman interview with him?
Yeah.
Where Paxman said people see him and they think, "Gosh, I wish he was his brother." And to be honest, it hurts so much for me because it's true.
Paxman, I don't know, he wasn't fair.
Paxman was not fair at all. I definitely think he's clearly a conservative voter, and it was so much more personal for Ed Miliband.
He attacked them more than
and it was almost purely personal stuff, and then for Cameron it wasn't.
It was policy and
very very different things there. But check that out if you haven't seen it. It was Newsnight, wasn't it? One of those generic shows.
Search Paxman versus Cameron versus Miliband.
Yeah.
But then there was also the 7 Leaders debate, which is a more recent one with all the 7 parties.
Don't really know if it's worth watching. We can give you a pretty good summary.
It's
probably
a bunch of
racist stuff.
It doesn't. You don't really gain much really. I mean, Miliband, I think he did okay.
He didn't do badly, but it just. But he is like Paxman's right in saying that he is a geek. He doesn't really understand that it's. I wouldn't say it's patronizing. I think it's like naive. In that debate, at least 3 or 4 times he said, "But the people at home," and he'd look into the camera, and I was like, I was just shouting at him in my head, like, "Please don't do that."
Yeah,
it's so it's cringeworthy. No, I have Nick Clegg basically saying we're not going to win, but neither is there anybody else, and apologising for his being so.
And then he tried to get Ed Miliband to literally apologise
Oh yeah, he said
that was a
apologize to the people for.
He was very kind of uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, the economic crisis, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Natalie Bennett
Natalie-
pointing out.
Natalie
It was good to have
Bennett-
her on there, especially for the
She talked too
bedroom
little.
tax
She
stuff.
talked too little.
She did talk too little. But what can you do? And obviously,
The good
damn it,
thing-
I memorized how to say their name.
At least Sturgeon, she kind of butted in and forced her way in
Yeah.
and kind of talked about it. But like Natalie Bennett, I don't think she's like that. She's more laid back. But the thing is, I don't like. I think the majority of people, and this is not a good thing. It's a bad thing. Is that most people don't vote for the policy in detail. They mostly vote for like the person.
character, yeah.
And
That's what, like, it's what you said on the chat the other night. That Nigel Farage is a character as much of a silent
Yeah.
bastard as he
like
is.
you kind of like he's kind of funny. Like
He's funny, but he makes me sick to my stomach.
he makes good jokes and things about Cameron and Miliband. Like and in that debate, he got the most laughs for sure. But he also had the most kind of horrible.
Yeah, and then people were like,
points.
it made me feel really good when people would applaud Nicola Sturgeon and Natalie Bennett when they pointed out how disgusting his policies are.
Yeah.
It's like withdraw all foreign aid. I mean, sure, a hell of a lot of it goes on weapons, but that is inconceivably immoral. Oh, damn it.
What?
Like, I learned how to say the Welsh party's name the other day. I'm sorry for anybody.
Was it Played Simru?
No, that's not how you say it. That's a terrible pronunciation.
Played Simru.
No, Play Simru. No, that's not it either. I'm sorry, Osh. Hold on.
But do you know who you're gonna vote for?
I like Natalie Bennett. I thought she was a lot less
And
airy than I thought she'd be. She's like pretty no bullshit about things, which surprised me a lot. I'm sorry.
Like
but
the Green Party is kind of like it is pretty idealistic.
it is idealistic, but I don't know. We need change.
Like there's no change. The thing is, we're voting Labour, we're voting Conservatives, or even Lib Dems.
They're all very vanilla.
Like,
it's very difficult to differentiate between them now.
There's going to be no culture shift with them in power.
Yeah. Which there would be if you were to elect Green Party.
And if you
it might. It's
Green,
risky. Sure.
It's incredibly risky with the Green Party because like they were saying,
before.
She hasn't. Natalie Bennett doesn't have much experience compared to the other people running for the other parties, but it's gotten to the point where it might be a good thing just to risk it, and then it's very possible something goes wrong. But even if it goes wrong, maybe that will set off some sort of change in politics, the way it works,
which is what you need.
I think either way it will be a good thing. So if they get elected and they manage to make changes and progress, that'd be a good thing. But then if they just completely fail and have big problems, then hopefully that would create some sort of big change in politics. But
English politics has just been so stale for so long now, or at least from almost all of my life anyway. It's like, just, I don't know, it's really not very inspiring, which is why I love Bristol so much, actually, because what happens here is inspiring. And I did find that thing that where they close the roads, like there's a picture here of them. Gosh, what is that road? It looks like it's down in Cabot, but yeah, they're playing cricket in the street. Everybody's out, it's so cool, everybody's watching. Baldwin Street, King Street and Corn Street were shut down. There's Mayor George Ferguson's Make Sunday Special initiative. I wish I'd do this like every weekend. That'd be great. Oh crap, that actually reminds me of something that I read for a UKIP politician. What's his name? Actually no, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want people to... Well, they can look it up themselves. You know there was
on Vice.
WWF's Green Hour, so... I don't know if it is WWF. It's Earth Hour, you know that. You know that thing where you just turn off your lights for an hour to try and save energy. It was very tokenistic, but
what it is.
It's more about what you think about doing other things as well, I think. But anyway, what this guy said is he said, switch on all your lights for Earth Hour to make a stand against climate change hysteria or climate hysteria. And it's just, again, mind-boggling stupidity there.
Like the UK is at least good with climate change. Like there's nobody saying it's not a thing like the US. The US is just
Australia. Tony Bennett, Prime Minister for Australia, is a climate change denier.
Really?
Yeah, look it up.
Tony Bennett, Natalie Bennett, they somehow relate to them.
I hope not.
Because Natalie Bennett is Australian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That would be very interesting to find out, yeah.
I I think she is Australian. She is, isn't she?
You're asking the wrong guy here, man.
Just Google her, Natalie Bennett. Like her accent sounds like it is.
Actually, maybe he's not the Prime Minister. Hold on. No, it is Tony Abbott, yeah. Oh, Tony... Did I say Bennett?
Yeah.
I meant Abbott. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but Tony Abbott, climate change.
Just check Natalie Bennett, she's Australian.
Natalie Bennett, Aussie. Okay.
Should be on her wiki.
Really? I didn't think they put that on wikis. Sorry.
No, isn't you
not
fun.
Australian-born British politician and journalist. She was elected to her position as the leader of the Green Party of England and Wales on 3rd of September 2012.
2012, she's been in for a while.
Yeah. No, I like her.
So
like I said the other night, though, I wish I could vote for Nicola Sturgeon, but I can't. So.
Do you think you're gonna vote Green Party then, or?
No, I'm gonna wing it when I'm in the poll booth. I think I'll say, all right, let's guess. I'll just put my finger on it, and then whichever one of those two. Oh wait, yeah.
Wait, between who?
No, it is
between Green and Labour.
Green and Labour, yeah. Because Labour, I mean, it was just like a tagline, but
yeah, but it's not
Labour collaborating with SNP.
Oh, and one thing
I wish I lived in Scotland.
One thing I don't like is how the parties try and get celebrities to endorse them.
Oh, what was it? It was Labour's. It was
the guy from The Hobbit.
Yeah, and he's also in
that because like we were just saying. I mean, it's even like he was in Sherlock as well.
They recognise that it is a popularity.
So, yeah, I mean, the first thing is that voting for the politician, like their character, is already a thing, which is not good at all. But then it's taken to the next level where it's just, your favorite celebrity, you'll kind of your influence rather than looking into the policies and picking what you think is the best one.
Yeah.
You're just voting for what celebrities you like best, really, and whatever they do. But
in the poll booth, they don't give you information on what the actual party's key. They don't bullet point the information.
They must. No,
maybe last time I voted, there was nothing like that.
I don't know. I've never voted before.
Oh, okay.
But
it was only a local thing. But
surely, then, if you walk into it, they'll have some sort of advertisement or something.
There was nothing in there when I went there. That was back home. I have to see what it's like in Bristol, but
I don't know.
It should definitely be. There should. I don't know. I don't know.
Like a little.
It's crazy. I have not seen a single.
Like a board, maybe saying with
comparison
key points.
No, I've never seen pros, cons
of each
Labour Party, pros, cons, Conservatives.
But yeah, because that's completely personal. Pros might be the cons for someone else.
Then you just bullet point all of their keys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just key point it.
I know you can probably find that online, but my issue is that I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it online. I haven't seen it on the television.
Right.
And that isn't very good. And I'm sure most of the general public. I'm sorry to generalize that like that, but
I mean, I'd hope they have it somewhere in the voting area. So, like in Bristol here in our area, it's in the Central Library where the Open Bionic Stock was.
Yeah.
So it's in there. So they must on the day they have advertisements say Green Party. These are their.
But it shouldn't be on the day, should it? Really? That's my ultimate point.
No, it shouldn't be. It should be.
We're seeing all of these debates, and they are
campaigning.
character standoffs rather than policy standoffs.
Because people find the policies boring and stuff. But the thing is, what they're trying to, they say not enough people will vote, and they're trying to get people to vote in the wrong way by getting these celebrities to endorse them, which just gets people to vote for their celebrities rather than for the parties. And it works for the parties, but it doesn't work for the people. So in that way, maybe it's worse that more people are voting. At least the people who are voting by themselves are doing the research.
I don't think we should scare people off from voting. I don't know. There's an infographic on the internet, and I know, but there's 15.9 million non-voters, and then it's 10.9 million people elected.
Voting, voting for the wrong reasons is negative. If you're voting, I don't think it should be. If you're not doing your research and you just vote, obviously you have the right to do that, and nobody can tell you not to do that. But it's bad. It's bad for the country, and it's probably bad for yourself because you're voting, and maybe whoever you elect will do something you completely disagree with. But
which I think there's a lot of that in UKIP. People see this guy saying, the immigrants are taking in our jobs. I'll get rid of them. And then basically, and then saying it in a really charming way.
I can see why people want to vote for Farage. Like he seems like he's standing up to
Westminster politicians.
Yeah, like that's his kind of thing. Yeah. So he used to work in the city in London,
and he's having banking. A point now with the lads.
Yeah, and now he got, I think in the 7-way debate, his opening thing was about how he worked in the city, and then he got tired of politicians kind of not making any change, so he's here to fight for the people, and make change. So I can see why people, and he's sort of funny and kind of he's willing to make jokes and stuff, unlike the other people.
Ones aren't that, like Ed Miliband and David Cameron. They're just so blasé. And Natalie Bennett's opening speech was quite frankly atrocious. Her phraseology and intonation is very...
She's not good.
She's not a charming character. Like, no. I like her policies, but not charismatic.
I mean, she had... I mean, like, you have to also mention that, I think it was the BBC, maybe BBC?
It was
or some sort of interview. No, not this one. It was just... she was interviewed by some reporter, and she just couldn't give any numbers at all. It was like cringe-worthy. It was so uncomfortable to listen to.
Really?
It was about 10 minutes. She was going, well, the question is, like that.
Holy crap.
For about 10 minutes, and he was just asking the same question, and then he'd kind of ask something else. She couldn't answer that shit, so he'd go back to it. He's just,
wow.
Like, she just couldn't come up with any numbers.
That's embarrassing. I found another Guardian article. This is actually pretty funny, and sums up how I feel about the whole thing. The question of whether non-residents of Scotland can vote for the Scottish National Party unexpectedly featured in a list of most searched for terms provided by Google after Thursday night's leaders' debate. That's great. It is a shame that we can't vote for them, though, let's be honest. If you had the sort of policies that you have in
even
Scotland...
Even the Welsh woman, I forgot her name. She was pretty good.
I do know her name.
She had some good kind of comeback things.
She did. I don't know. Sometimes it struck me that she wasn't as interested.
The women were better than the
guys.
Yeah.
That's true. Actually, that was really good to see. The fact that you had basically an even split. I mean, there's a 7-person debate, but that's great. Yeah. Leanne Wood.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
Played Kimry. There you go.
Played
oh no, I got the last bit right. Plaid Cymru. It's Plaid Cymru. Plaid Cymru. There we go. Okay, it is Plaid Cymru. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Plaid Cymru? No, let's not do that. I guess someone else do it.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think I'm gonna vote for Green Party. Pretty sure about it.
I'm not gonna state that because I don't like it when people ask me who I'm going to vote for or who I did vote for. That annoys me. I think it's rude and it infringes upon my right to privately vote. What the hell's the point in having a polling booth if I go about telling people who I voted for? I know it's my choice, but I don't want to.
Why not? Like, well, what does it do? What's wrong with it? What does it do?
It's one of those weird little... I'm trying to think of a way to point out why it is. I think ultimately it comes back to, like... I know this sounds absurd.
Okay.
But if there were to be a civil war, and there becomes, I don't know, political genocide, or, enormous fracture within society, and then people say, oh, who do you vote for?
And it's your fault.
And then people judge it. I don't want people to judge me for the party I voted for. I want people to judge me on my opinions themselves. I know they might be associated with my opinions, but they don't summarize them.
You should be judged on who you vote, I think.
Should you? I think you should be judged on the policies that you agree with.
No, but your
vote. I'm voting for the best of the worst here.
Yeah, but that's still, you have the option not to vote.
I do, but that's much worse than any of those.
Okay, but
because then I don't get anything I like.
You're voting and for them. Then if you elect them, if something goes wrong, that means the majority of people have elected that party.
Oh, it's on me. Don't get me wrong. If I vote for them, it is on me, and people can.
So you should be.
But people put so much weight in that. Like if someone says, "I vote UKIP,"
yeah,
that's like dropping an F-bomb in the middle of a conversation with a 4-year-old.
Not quite.
Come on.
But I think you should be judged on who you vote for. At least
to an extent, but people that's explicitly
no.
Why I don't do it.
That encourages more. That encourages a conversation on it because if you
But if you're making small talk with people, if it's someone I just met and they ask me who I voted for, I'll just say, whatever.
obviously if it's someone you just met, then it's weird to ask that.
Yeah,
but if you're talking with friends and stuff, it's important. I think that's good. What will get people to vote.
I think it would only be close friends that I would tell.
Close friends, okay, but I mean, the more conversation there is about who you vote for, I think will encourage people to vote more cleverly.
Mm-hmm.
Cleverly,
because you have to be able to defend.
Because
it doesn't matter what
say,
it was.
You'll say, I vote UKIP.
I defend my vote.
Why did you vote
exactly.
UKIP? And then they'll be like, I don't know, Farage, immigrants.
That's basically their manifesto.
Exactly, yeah. And then people will attack them, and they'll realize they are idiots, and that they shouldn't vote for UKIP.
Mm-hmm.
And then they will hopefully do some research into policy, and actually, if they still believe in UKIP, obviously vote if you really believe
if you
that.
really want to, but we won't tell you what to do.
Hopefully, the more research you do, more educated you get.
You want to be well informed when you vote. That should be obvious.
Which I don't think a lot of people
it's an issue with.
A lot of people aren't well informed. A lot of people just vote for who their parents voted for. Like,
Yeah.
It's just I'll vote. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think it's a lot easier. I think that conversation definitely happens more with say people who go to university, or like the upper strata of society are more inclined to talk about that stuff. But then at the same time, they're sort of not. But this is way too complicated.
That's a good thing about also privacy of there being less privacy,
because you can't categorize people based on their political affinity.
No, as in like it will encourage you to kind of explain why you did something, or so it will kind of
and then you build up that moral compass.
Yeah, it'll get you to
your actions,
to put more thought into things.
Yeah,
which is good.
That's a good point. Yeah.
About it.
And then it stops you becoming a robot where you just do the thing that will. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you just do it because you do it.
Because that's what you want. That's what people expect to see.
If it's out there in the public eye and people are like, why do you do that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just do it. And then you maybe put some thought into changing that. I don't know. Hopefully, it won't happen. The Green Party win, and then we get some change in politics. But it's not going to happen. Hopefully, they make like a decent gain on, they grow
on the other parties, so you stop having this incredibly bland mixture
at
at
least,
Westminster.
So at least in the next election, they have a larger voice, more well respected.
Yeah, they build momentum using that phrase.
Yeah, it's not going to be an overnight thing. They're
not going to end up winning the election or even being part of a coalition. They're just going to gain a couple of seats.
Yeah, hopefully they can influence government on climate change policies, things like that, and then people will realize they're making changes. Government, they're the ones who are doing it. So people, what's the Green Party, and then they start.
So they see what's happening in those other districts or counties.
Yeah,
and then they think, oh, that's pretty cool. I'd quite like that in my county. So it will spread.
Bristol is currently what?
I wish I knew who the electoral room.
I don't. I think who's the mayor? What?
Mayor George Ferguson wears bright red trousers.
Yeah, but he's
Labour.
He's Labour.
Given the red trousers.
Right, yeah.
Which, no, you can see where that would come from for Bristol, but I don't know, Bristol's definitely got the potential to be green, I think.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have polling in, like, individual constituencies.
Potential, yeah, but
Bristol.
I think Green in Bristol's the most popular party currently.
Well, you have only got the student perspective of it. This is a party that's going to abolish tuition fees, so...
No, I think I did a, what was that website? The voting website where I can't remember what it's called. Vote for Change?
Yeah, Bristol is firmly Liberal Democrat, but that was in the 2010 election. So...
No, but currently it was some, website. You know the one I'm talking about where you go on it, Vote for Policy, I think it is, vote, one of those.
Yeah.
Where it has like a list of questions and you go through them and it'll...
Oh, what? Did it give results for your IP?
For you put in your address or whatever.
I'm going to do this.
It takes about an hour.
Oh shit. Maybe I'm not.
If you want to do it fully, like you can select to do welfare, economic things like
Tom
that.
was talking about this. I think he
Tom,
he got like 20% in UKIP or something.
No, yeah, it's not that.
Sorry, Tom. I don't know if you want that
he
share.
I think he got green mainly as well.
I think most students will.
I think I got 80% green.
Yeah.
10% Labour, and then the rest was like all the other ones.
Mm-hmm. Actually, this is interesting. Bristol's quite dynamic in the way it votes, clearly. It says, okay, so 2001 election, the Labour were on top with 37%, Lib Dems and Conservatives tied at 29%, Green and other parties, like 5% between them. Then 2005 election, the Lib Dems jumped 9%, 38% of the entire thing. So that was...
Is anyone going to vote for Lib Dems, though?
No, which is my point.
No.
This is exactly my point.
It's going to
so
transfer
you've got
to Green.
that liberal mindset, and then it might actually roll over to the Green Party.
Yeah.
So you might... I don't know, it's a moonshot, but you could end up with a majority.
I think Green will do the best in Bristol, probably.
Yeah. Although that being said, 2000... I don't know, Green have been a lot more visible this election, I think. I know, obviously, I was much younger.
Yeah, they're growing.
Last time I came around, but...
they're definitely grown since last election.
Actually, the Green Party have annoyed me slightly in Bristol when they came to visit the university, because they didn't announce their visit.
That's another thing that really pissed me off about Natalie Bennett.
Yeah.
She just turned up. She tweeted it, I think, like midnight or something the night before she came, and then she just turned up, and she didn't tell the university, or she didn't tell any local kind of newspaper. She just turned up at the library, or I think it was...
That's either incompetence or purposeful deception, and I'm not fond of either.
Yeah, I mean, some people turned up. What? Somebody's in the shower. No, I think that's from outside. There's somebody smoking. Because I'm under like the park.
Outside part of Bristol that has a...
No, outside my window there's like a parking thing, and people just stand there and smoke. So all the smoke comes up here.
And they definitely do not smoke any illicit substances.
And what was
we were talking about the Lib Dems and Green Party. And Natalie Bennett not telling anyone that she's coming.
Oh yeah, that was... I didn't understand that.
Given that interview that you mentioned where she struggled to answer some questions, I'm thinking maybe it was deception.
And the people who turned up, that would also... But in some ways, like, not announcing it works badly for her, because then the only people...
In some ways, always, every single way that you look at... To me, it's like...
Well, no, as in, like, you can see her, maybe, you know... You can see her thinking that not many people will turn up. She won't get asked difficult questions. But the people who will turn up are the people who will ask the most difficult questions, because they'll be the ones who be looking
paying attention to whoever on the Twitter feed or whatever. Yeah,
and they'll come and turn up, and that's what they did. I think some conservative people turned up and started asking difficult questions. Yeah. She should have announced that.
She should have. And I think she would help. Come on.
Students will have turned up, and
and will have like
it would
have been like a pack of dogs on, like, I don't know.
It would have just been good, like, to put on social media and stuff, like showing a picture of the amount of people that turned up. Like, it would have done well.
I would have wanted to get a selfie with her personally, but can't have everything.
Well.
Spending the morning at a stall on the University of Bristol precinct with a crowd of enthusiastic young Greens. Passing students and Bristol West election favourite Darren Hall as well, yeah. But she didn't announce it, so it was literally just passing people, not people who were going there solely to go and interrogate her. Which is what people want to do. I mean, it's a silly decision. Let's move on from it. Okay, so let's look at Darren. Darren Hall is the candidate for Bristol. Seems like got a pretty cool signature. It looks a little bit like Clifton's suspension bridge. He grew up in Gloucestershire. He studied mechanical engineering. Big bonus for us, yeah. Joined the RAF as an engineering officer. Moved to Bristol in 2001. Worked for the Home Office. And then basically he was just involved in a bunch of green stuff. I think the problem with green is the number of the associations it has, people have with it. They think Greenpeace and they think hippies, or I know these incredibly outdated things, or thinking
it is what people think. Like when you first say, when you talk to people about Green Party, it's what they think. It's just like, oh, climate change. What else have they got to offer? But like, yeah,
this guy sounds great though.
I mean, it's a good name. I think
it is a good name, but I don't know if it's suitable for the whole country because
I
as
think
with any.
But
you have these stigmas attached to certain words.
Stigma, yeah, but like it is sort of a good stigma. Like it's
for some people,
it's completely different to Labour, Conservative, Liberal. It's not like that type of word.
Yeah, it's not one of those words that are wrapped up in a sort of shroud of science, political science.
Yeah, I mean it's green. You kind of get.
You're like, okay, well, they probably stand for green things. Oh, renewable energy. There's a lot of green stuff on posters to do with that too.
I mean, yeah, you sort of get a lot of their policy just from the name straight away,
which is good.
But then people think that's all they really have to offer. But then,
and I think the problem with the other parties is that to an extent they have become dissociated with their name. So, for example, Labour. It's a lot less. I think hardline would probably be the word. It seems, from what I've heard other people say, like I'm not freaking genius on this, but it's not as they don't differentiate themselves as much, like I said. But no, this guy, he's a keen surfer and cyclist. That's Darren Hall. Like, I am plugging him here, but seriously, check out the website. It's interesting.
Maybe we can get him on the podcast.
He is the editor of Good Bristol, a magazine and website that promotes ethical and sustainable local businesses and community organisations. He's a board member of the Bristol Community Land Trust and founder of Making Waves Foundation. Come on, he sounds like a great guy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the other candidates in other constituencies are like that. And I'm just going to contrast this against another candidate. So I will do Conservative. Actually, no, let's give it a level playing field. Liberal Democrat candidate for Bristol. No, but it'll be interesting to see how Bristol respond, given that they were a Lib Dem majority and quite a significant majority at what, like, it's 40%.
I think it's very likely that it's going to be Green.
I wouldn't say very likely. I'd say they've got a shot at it, which they haven't had for the last N years, where N tends to infinity. Yeah. Liberal Dem. There we go.
Did you see that David Cameron rap? They took like after the 7-person debate, somebody made like
I think I did see this. Yeah,
I think it's on YouTube or something. I saw it on Facebook, but it's probably on YouTube.
I'm gonna see if I can bring it up.
It was so good. Like they've taken all the speeches over the past 5 years or something, and made which song was it?
Hold on.
It was like based on.
It was Cassette Boy, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
Hold on. Emperor's New Clothes rap.
If you play it louder so the mic can hear.
Thank you. We've been recording the music video, and it goes like this. I'm hardcore, and I know the score. I am disgusted by the poor, and my chums matter more because we are the law, and I've made sure we're ready for class war. Take the money from the man who works long hours, giving power to the tycoon in the glass tower. That is why I can look you in the eye and say this is the party of the motherfuckers. We don't care about
And that's pretty much made this episode an explicit one, but no, check out, that's not ours, that's Cassette Boy on YouTube, so you can look at that. It's got 5 million views. It's absolutely hilarious. Really good. Okay, but I've got the candidate up for Liberal Democrats in, this is East Midlands, I don't know why. Oh man, they've listed them all on here. Oh, hold on. I haven't quite got them yet. No, I think everybody's lost faith in the Liberal Democrats, which is a bit of a crying shame, given that they had the opportunity and they blew it. So people are sceptical of associated parties. So Green Party's got a similar left-wing stance on it, but hopefully it should be fine. What I really hope is that Bristol don't just swing back to voting Labour.
Yeah,
which they could do.
Changing the subject, kind of, but it's all in politics. Some people talk about having like a voting system for everyone, rather than just electing politicians and they make the decisions. Having some sort of like online.
Oh, the policy vote thing.
So when
that's not a new idea. I mean, that idea has probably been around since the birth of politics, where you just. But that's
but now it's so easy for people, so you can just have it notification just pop up on your iPhone and say there's should we invade Syria or whatever.
Really
like how
we don't get to
like how the US were talking about it, and then because of all the outcry, they didn't go, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of depends on how much. I don't know how much the
Problem is, it's so
affected
tightly linked
Obama's
with what
decision.
media you've been exposed to recently. So, for example, in Syria, I was absolutely, I was incredibly upset when I saw the chemical warfare stuff. That was absolutely shocking, and I think in those couple of days after, I probably would have said, yeah, we should help them out here, without thinking of how negative, like, drones in general, they just perpetuate the war.
Yeah, but it's
That's
not
why
they
they get more and more recruits.
Yeah, I mean,
because
don't
their families
have
get killed.
the question come out straight away, like, because people will react instinctively, and that's usually not a good thing. You want to have some thought go into it. So maybe release the question so people, start thinking about it, but don't have the ability to vote for maybe a week or so. So at least people are thinking about it for that time period, and then they release, yes or no, or depending on what the question is or whatever. But it could be a better thing rather than having one guy runs the country. But then it's
not really one guy runs the country though.
You get like the point.
You have one face on top of the country, but
rather than it'd be because you elect somebody and then you don't really get the chance to do anything after that. It's they can do it what they want really. It's what they decide, and the politicians who are under them they decide that.
Do the general? I think this is why we elect.
Yeah, but the
The
hope.
reason we elect politicians is because the general public,
The hope.
not all of us are capable of making those extensive lines of thought.
Yes, but
and
the
understanding the
but
bureaucratical consequences of particular decisions.
But people complain so much about how they disagree with the politicians, and
I think that will happen regardless of what system you use.
Yeah, but at least if you have the system where everybody decides on everything.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a bit idealistic where a lot of people won't, but you have it so it's out there. Maybe still have the prime minister, one guy, but you have this pull. So for every decision they make, maybe not every decision because it's constant, but major decisions that has like a sort of pull. The government releases, it goes into your smartphone or something, it pops up, and so they get at least they know what the population wants, because you elect. I mean, the hope is that you elect the politicians, they go into government, and they will represent, the people, what, they talk about their policies, and you elect them because you want them to act on their ideas for the policies. A lot of the time that doesn't happen. Whereas if you have the ability for the public to actually get involved constantly throughout their term, maybe that will help bring the public into politics rather than just every few years you vote and then you're gone, and then you just complain for the next 5 years because they didn't do anything. Rather than if you have it so part of the 60% weight is the prime minister and the government, and then you have 40% weight of polls of the public.
Yeah,
and so that kind of will swing it maybe. So you have the people who elect and who are in detail kind of involved in the subject, and they kind of educated decisions. And then you have the people who hopefully they do their research before making a decision, and they are educated as well, but then also there's a risk that some people won't do it, and they'll just yes, no, just
I think you can say anarchist or
so have
whatever.
it vote less.
Yeah, I mean, chaotic voting wouldn't be too much of an issue. My concern with it would be that people couldn't be bothered. Which I know is like a massive naysaying, but you can imagine people are like, oh crap, it's another question from the government, please leave me alone.
Yeah, but
and you'd have to read, with those sorts of things, you'd need to have information associated with it that explains it.
Yeah, you do, and it has to be non-biased, which is also difficult because the government.
Sorry, I always do that.
But yeah, it would be a good thing like that, because they'd be able to change, because it's important knowing what your country is doing.
But then, in addition to that, hold on, sorry, it comes back to the thing of not everybody's connected.
Not everybody's connected, but in our country, the majority.
No, but that's besides the point. It doesn't matter that it's the majority. It's not everyone.
No, of course it's not.
But then you don't you don't let particular demographics of people vote on the policies,
but
which completely destroys the whole system of a democracy.
But it's more democracy in that way, because the people will actually have the ability to influence the decisions, whereas right now you have no ability. You elect somebody and that's it, isn't it?
Well, you do influence decisions because you vote for a party that you like. But
what I'm saying is
I
you
completely
elect
understand
them,
what you're saying,
and then once they're elected, they at least they do that. You have some weight in the decisions. They have to take it into account legally. So have something like that. Yes, some people won't have connection, but at least a lot of people will, and they can influence rather than nobody having influence, which is better. And then hopefully, as technology gets better, more and more people will have connection, things like that. But that brings in just lost the point beforehand.
If you were to do it statistically, though, which is effectively what that system would be, I know it would be wholly statistically, but say, what happens when it is a perfectly even split on both sides of the fence? So you have the order of your votes, and then you have the whole government. Who does this decision go to then? It has to go to the government, and then if you've already taken
if you
faith out of them to an extent,
maybe
have
the weighting, maybe have the weighting different. So say the government has like a 60% weighting on the decision, and then the public have 40%, or even.
Then what's the point in having it at all? What is the government's decision? The government makes one decision. It doesn't make several.
No, but has one decision, but it has to go through.
All of the constituency representatives vote on it, but
yeah, but and I'm
I like the idea
having it directly like that. So rather than the government has one decision, and then it's the government as a one thing against the whole public. You have people who are in government. Their vote weighs more than the people in the public who aren't.
And you can have that weighting, but nevertheless, you still have that. The thing that really frightens me about that, and I think it is a flaw. It's a major flaw in democracy. Let's be honest. It's that you have the majority decision isn't always the right one, and that's obvious. But
of course,
it's incredibly important when you think about these voting systems that. Yeah. It's not an expert the majority decision isn't an expert decision, and it's really difficult to make that expert decision, but that's why you elect people in the first place, because they can be your expert, and they're the people you store that trust in to make those decisions for you, and to show you
but it doesn't seem like they're experts, to be honest.
No, it doesn't. It does seem like shambles.
They just make really bad decisions,
and it seems like that to us. And but
seems like to us, but
it
seems like to us. But like the U.S. government, it's a good decision for them because they get the funding from the oil companies, from the telecommunication companies and things like that. For them, it's brilliant. They get all their funding from these companies, so they just say whatever the company tells them. Whereas if you remove the money from politics and you have it so the public have to actually get involved in the politics, then that actually
you can get them involved without having them vote on policy. Though what you need to do is you need to have politicians held accountable properly, not what's happening at the moment. And like you say, there shouldn't be money in politics. And I mean, any sane person who believes in democracy, man, that sounds cheesy, but anybody who does that knows that money just spoils the entire idea behind it, because it's not voting for ideology, it's voting for who has the shiniest, flashiest campaign ad.
That's one of Green Party's points as well. Money out of politics. It's not as bad here as.
But to an extent, you do need money in politics.
As in the US. No, by money in politics.
The US. Oh, you mean
money in politics
associated with particular parties.
Yeah, so getting funding from corporations
and
that you can't have.
Mention tax is a point in case there.
The US, it's so blatant as well. Like you can literally go on the internet and see what companies are funding that politician. Yeah. And you can literally just look at what they've said, and you can see exactly what party, what company has told them to say that. It's hilarious. But there's this. Have you heard of Elizabeth Warren?
Yeah, I recognize the name. What's it from?
She's a politician in the US. But she's attacking the banks. And the banks are scared of her as well.
Oh no, I do recognize this lady. Holy, wait, no, she wasn't in House of Cards. Never mind. I feel like she was.
I don't think so.
I really feel like she
no,
was, but
no,
she wasn't.
I
No,
don't.
I do recognize her. I probably read her.
She's a real person.
Yeah. Oh, really? Wow. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, the
It's interesting that she was a professor specializing in bankruptcy law. I
she-
think that should
the-
say anything if she's attacking the.
the banks what's mostly happened with the banks in the US is that they funded the the politicians, and the politicians, just because what the reaction from the public is, they'll say like the banks had a play in it,
But they
but
weren't.
they don't do anything against them. They, because they're getting their funding, they support them, and they don't make any laws against them to regulate them more. Or they actually wanted. I think it was Ted Cruz, maybe.
Don't even get
He's
started on him.
he's running for president.
I know, and it
I think
scares the daylights out of me that
I
he
think
was
he-
the first person to announce.
I think he
it.
wants to. I think he wants to remove regulation from
He
banks.
wants to remove net neutrality.
I know
and
that's.
he doesn't have a bloody clue about any
that's
of it.
insane. Wasn't he the technology? Wasn't he involved in something like that?
You're talking about a guy whose filibuster consisted of telling Star Wars stories.
Can you check Ted Cruz? I think he had some role with NASA or something.
Yeah.
And this is so he has some role in. I can't remember exactly. But you just check it. So if you just
NASA, yeah. I'll tell another story about him while I'm looking for it.
what kind of roles has he had?
Here we go. It's on The Verge. But yeah, going back to net neutrality with Ted Cruz a moment ago. What it was? He doesn't even have the domain name for his
Ted Cruz.
It's nothing. It's
I
just
know.
like it's awful.
I
It
know.
shows how little he understands the thing he's trying to affect legislation.
Have you got what he?
I've got it on here
what's
now. What will change?
What's his like?
114th Congress is arguably the most anti-scientific group of politicians this country has seen in decades.
Yeah, but what?
Wow,
He had a
that's serious.
specific role which had an effect on NASA and climate change, things like that.
Oh, Texas Senator Ted Cruz is the chair of the Senate Subcommittee on Space, Science, and Competitiveness.
Exactly. Yes.
How can you have that with someone?
He's
He's
it's
also a
insane.
climate changer. He's a climate skeptic.
Exactly. He doesn't believe in climate change.
I mean, it shouldn't be a case of believing it. It's
the word.
It's not that he doesn't believe in it.
The word
stupid to comprehend the fact
believe
that it is.
shouldn't even be in the same sentence.
Yeah.
To be honest, like there's nothing to believe or not believe. It's like, and then it's the media's fault as well, isn't it? So they have when they present debates or arguments on the news, they present it like it's a 50-50 argument.
Yeah.
So they have one person who supports climate, who kind of
Is a
a
climate
proponent
skeptic.
for climate change, and the one person who's like, no, climate change is nothing, it's not
Which
happening,
isn't representative.
which is completely kind of skewing the results, because it was 97% of climate scientists say climate change.
Oh no, it's just
specifically-
97% of scientists. So you're talking the entire scientific community.
No,
They have the analytical
No,
mindset.
specifically, it's 97% climate scientists say that man caused climate change is it's a thing.
Yeah.
And the other 3%, people, you can look at them, the people who, climate scientists who say it's not a thing, you can look at where they're getting their funding, and you see it's from these companies, the oil companies, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at the stats from 2007, and it is the vast majority. 97% agree the global temperature has
the
increased,
fact that
but
Ted
84%
Cruz
is
had a
reduced.
say in his role, the space technology thing, it's
shocking.
crazy.
Yeah. I've got a quote here from him, actually, it's on The Verge. Says Cruz in a statement, "We must refocus our investment on the hard sciences, on getting men and women into space, on exploring low Earth orbit and beyond, and not on political distractions that are extraneous to the NASA's mandate." Sorry. NASA's mandate. But the point is, what he's saying is he wants to take money away from the projects that are trying to limit how much we screw up the planet. So, which is shocking, but he's not unique to Congress, is he? I mean, come on.
He's one of the he's one of the big ones.
Oh no, Ted Cruz is a massive one.
Yeah.
Like,
There obviously are loads of people in Congress and just U.S. politics who are, specifically the Republicans, who are
yeah,
complete idiots.
I mean, let's all tar them all with the same brush there. I hate that phrase. There are some good ones, but
no,
so many.
a lot of
the
Republicans.
conservative mindset. You see statistics about it all the time about particular negative attributes associated with it.
You know, did you? There's a recent poll. If you get this up, who search for biggest threat to the U.S. poll, and just look at the results.
Oh no, I know what the thing is. Is it in that book that I mentioned earlier, the Jeffrey Sachs one? It was saying it found that the conservative mindset has a tendency to see things as us versus them, which is obviously incredibly damaging.
Another thing about the U.S.
scale.
is, did you see that the thing that passed? But now how they can discriminate. I think was.
Oh, you mean the religious freedom? Act
religious
in
freedom.
Georgia.
Yeah,
They have no. So
not much.
they changed it enough. I mean, people had chilled out a bit more, and which it's I don't know. Maybe it was a tokenistic thing. I don't know the story that well.
Have you got the?
I've got the poll here.
Who's the most dangerous to the U.S.? Who's the biggest threat to the U.S. with the poll?
The U.S. represents the largest threat to world peace today. This is an article on International Business Times.
There was a poll that people voted. It was like specific people. So there was Putin, the guy, Putin, and there was Obama. There was some ISIS guy. There are specific people. So if you search for that, who's the biggest threat to the U.S. Poll?
Yeah, that's what that's word for word exactly what I've googled. U.S. the biggest. I just keep on getting U.S. the biggest threat to world peace.
If you go onto YouTube,
okay.
People who's listening can do this as well. Go on the Young Turks, and if you.
Oh my God, the Young Turks. Okay,
they're very good.
I wouldn't say
no,
very
they
good.
are.
No,
they are
they're
very
incredibly
good.
one-sided.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
How?
They only show one perspective of it. It's their opinion. It's not an objective analysis.
It isn't. No, it is. It is. They do.
It isn't.
Yes.
I watched them literally for a year straight. That's how I know so much about Ted Cruz.
I watched them,
and I agree with you.
Well.
It's interesting, like looking into American politics, but it is an opinion show. It's not an analysis show.
It's both. They do both. They go into things a lot more detail than other news shows for that.
Which is good, but
they present the
and I know that they want to take money out of politics, but it is their opinion.
Wait, what they do first is they go through the evidence and then they present their opinion afterwards. He said that it was Cenk Uygur. He said it. It's his opinion. He says that a lot.
Isn't it Cenk Uygur? Yeah.
No, Cenk Uygur.
No, you say here, don't you?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
I swear
he didn't say. That's how his name's spelled, I think.
Okay, have you found the video? Who's the biggest?
I found the video.
Who's the biggest threat?
Reuters Ipsos did a poll. They asked Americans, who do you view as an imminent threat to the U.S.? And they asked about different world leaders. Bashar al-Assad, the dictator in Syria, only got 23%. So that's not a very high number. He's caused...
If you bring the microphone so I can actually hear, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure
pick it up.
Lives and displaced millions of people and has affected our national interests greatly because out of that war rose ISIS, who we're now combating, right? But they only viewed him as a threat 23%. That's amazing.
So if you just skip it a bit. So.
25%, obviously we've got
that's Putin. I will skip it a little bit, so
just so we have the full result list.
Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Sorry,
just put
what is this?
Barack Obama's 34%.
Isn't that crazy?
He outranks
the others,
quite considerably.
Is there one more after him?
There looks like there's space for one.
So if you read out his name, so all the other ones. So what was the result?
Okay.
So the poll was who's the biggest threat to the U.S. It was Bashar al-Assad. Who's the imminent threat to the U.S.? Bashar al-Assad, probably pronouncing it wrong.
No, that's right. Bashar al-Assad.
23%. Vladimir Putin. 25%.
Ayatollah.
The Ayatollah was what, 27%?
27% there, yeah.
And then Barack Obama, 34%.
Yeah, so a good
I don't
7%
understand that.
Above. This is the imminent threat, though. This is a different question saying
Imminent,
who's the biggest threat to them.
But it's yeah. So how is he an imminent threat?
My point. Yeah, well, I know. I agree with your point here. He's not an imminent threat. And in fact, let's be honest. Congress have just been stonewalling him at every single turn. With policy-wise,
but and he goes into more detail. Chang, you don't have to play it.
I'm kind of interested.
He talks about how the they split up, Republicans and Democrats. Republicans obviously put him as a most imminent threat a lot higher than the Democrats, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But
that being said, lots of Democrats aren't satisfied with Obama either.
no, they aren't. But it's the whole thing. That thing, blame Obama. When something goes wrong, they go Obama. They just
I
blame.
mean, that's just everybody in every country in the world. Like,
No. But
oh my god.
No, but it's
no. I do see. What
it's a joke, but it's an actual thing. And like the government and the media, like Fox News and CNN, they literally do that.
Let's not call Fox News media, shall we? Come on. Yeah, I don't want to associate with them with any sort of journalism.
Fox News is crazy.
Absolutely. There's an incredibly explicit but hilarious YouTube comment that I won't read out, but yeah. Probably might be worth watching the video, but like I say,
yeah, I mean,
I'm too tired to get into an argument about the Young Turks.
If you've never watched the Young Turks,
it is worth watching.
It's worth watching.
And it's
I
interesting.
think they are the best news show to get to at least kind of American related news, politics, things like that. They're the most reliable source.
Yeah, but I stand by my.
Of course, it's still skewed. He is a personality.
Yeah,
but he's a personality where he presents the evidence, the actual evidence.
Mm-hmm. But even I don't know.
And then he gives in his opinion, which he should do. I mean,
I can't attest to the fact that anybody actually goes out of their way without it being legally proven that they, like, I don't know, withheld particular items from the news.
But the thing is with YouTube, if you don't present the evidence, they're very big, so people in the comments do kind of like
tear them apart.
They will tear them apart if they don't present something, and they do that when they get something wrong. They will make an extra video, so kind of saying they read some comment and they found out some new evidence, and they sometimes they change their viewpoint, which is good. Fox doesn't do that.
Oh no,
CNN doesn't do that.
God, what's the craziest one that Fox have done? I think it's Benghazi, wasn't it?
Bill O'Reilly is crazy.
Bill O'Reilly is crazy. Did you see the thing about him lying about what was it?
In Falkland.
In the Falklands, yeah. God, that doesn't even surprise me. My favorite video on YouTube, one of them's up there, is when I think it's Hulk Hogan punches Bill O'Reilly in the face.
He actually,
or something. I'll get the video up.
Bill O'Reilly's insane.
Yeah, just look him up. If you don't know who this guy is, he's a Fox News reporter, and he's the most
reporter.
Yeah, reporter in inverted commas. You may have heard the internet meme like "Tie goes in, tie goes out." That was Bill O'Reilly's response to. Yeah, you can't explain it. Tie goes in, tie goes out. You can't explain that.
Yeah, it was in support. He had an atheist on his show, and he was arguing with him about religion. And he asked the atheist, tide goes in, tide goes out. You can't explain that.
Yeah, and then against science.
The atheist was just silence for like a few seconds.
So shocked
wait, what?
By the fact that Bill O'Reilly would be so stupid.
You're actually asking that.
Hold on, I'm gonna get this video. I want to get that.
And he has really stupid quotes. Like one of his quotes is he fought a war with a pen.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can find all sorts of great stuff on the internet about Bill O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly, Fox. The worst thing they've done is the no-go zones.
That wasn't that. Well,
that was Fox.
No, that wasn't Bill O'Reilly.
No, it was Fox. And it was Bill O'Reilly. It was all of them. They were all, but it was on all of them.
Was it on all? I just saw the.
Bill O'Reilly is Fox.
Yeah, no, I know Bill O'Reilly is Fox, but it wasn't Bill O'Reilly that was on that newscast, was it?
No, but he's said it.
No, he didn't.
I'm pretty sure
Bill O'Reilly didn't say that they had the. It was another.
I'm pretty sure he's mentioned it.
No.
He's one of the people that mentioned. But the main thing is there's this compilation on YouTube of every single time Fox have said no-go zones. Basically, if you haven't heard of it, is that they had a professional, again in inverted commas, who.
He said Birmingham.
Yeah, he said Birmingham was a 100% Muslim city, and that they had a Sharia law police. That meant you literally could not go into Birmingham or certain areas in London or certain areas in Paris, like neighborhoods. You literally could not enter that neighborhood unless you're a Muslim, because there was Sharia law in it. It's
funny.
And then they actually put this out on live news, plenty. Like go search if, like people listening, if you search on YouTube, Fox News no-go zones. It's incredible.
Maybe I dreamt this. No, I've seen this before. I don't know. I can't find it right now. But he does get punched somewhere on the internet. Oh wait, hold on a minute. Man, this has been the longest episode in history.
2 hours and 10 minutes.
3 hours.
No, it was on 1 already for some reason.
Oh, okay.
It was a glitch.
Interesting.
But it's 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Stand by for a shocking announcement.
No-go zone. And they say it so weirdly. That's another thing I like. I think I like about the Young Turks.
Yeah.
They don't talk in that weird...
Yeah. Well, they don't.
Breaking news,
They don't
you know.
put emphasis on things.
They don't like. They don't like
way.
make their mouth weird when they talk.
What's that thing that Jenk always said?
What is this? And
Oh yeah, he does that a lot, doesn't he?
and it's some Turkish saying. I can't remember it. It's Turkish and Arab.
Oh, Hubdullah. That's something Yesh taught me.
No, wasiktala. I think wasiktala. I think that's what he says.
Oh, okay. That's not a saying. That's just like I think it's God is great that I just tried to say.
No. That's what Chang says.
Oh no, here we go. It's actually oh no. Oh no, it's not the track I thought it was. What he says is wasiktir, which I don't know if that's phonetic. Oh, it's I just swore quite badly in Arabic, I think. Oh no, it's Turkish, sorry.
What does it mean?
Roughly equivalent to dropping an F-bomb.
Oh, right.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of they're genuine at least.
They are genuine.
If
I personally, I think hopefully all news in the future will be like that. Like people are moving so far away from independent.
I mean, they
networks.
actually released
all
the
media is becoming independent.
I mean, if you happen to go onto YouTube and watch the Young Turks and you like what they do, he actually released a documentary.
Oh, I saw this about money and politics, wasn't it?
Oh no, well, he's actually working on something called Wolfpack.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing I saw.
It's if you search on the internet, it's wolf-pack.com, and he's basically kind of trying to get money out of politics, and he's getting quite a lot of support, and they're doing pretty well. But yeah, they actually made a documentary of the Young Turks since they originally launched. There's like a full documentary of. I think it's an hour and a half or something. It's really interesting. I've got it. I can give it to you if you want.
I would like to see it.
Yeah,
It'd be interesting.
It's a good story.
No, but like I say, independent news institutions should be used a lot more widely.
Yeah,
and it would be good to see. I mean, they're definitely available. It's just a matter of finding them.
I mean, they have a larger audience than all the other news channels on YouTube and everything. They're absolutely giant.
Well, the possible consequence of using independent news ones is that you can get more extreme ones, and then you start to perpetuate your own prejudices.
You can, but then it's on you to.
It's on you
to find a mix of things.
Well, that was a really interesting talk on the Google X projects.
Well, yeah, it was Google. What did we talk? We talked about Google X and politics, really.
God, yeah. We talked about lots of that. That was a great episode. I enjoyed that a lot.
I think, yeah, that's how the podcast should go.
It should go
free flowing,
and it's difficult. It's like we say, it is really difficult to try and ease up immediately and have conversations because we talk about when we talk about just me and Tom, we talk about stuff very frankly because it's not small talk, and we don't want. And when you meet someone for the first time, which is pretty much every single time you meet a guest, it is, to an extent, it has to be small talk style questions with that interview stuff added on the end. So you can't talk about tough stuff, and especially because we're so small.
I think,
we can just be refused if we start doing stuff like that.
We're getting better as time goes by.
Yeah, we'll get better.
This is episode 9 already.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the one we're recording right now.
What's unique about the number 9? I suppose it's the first 9 in existence, isn't it?
And then, what did he say?
Nothing. Okay. We're speaking to Engine Shed.
Yeah, the next episode, number 10, which it's kind of crazy. We've already been doing it for 10 weeks.
Wow.
It'll be with the Engine Shed.
2.5 months.
But that should be a
Fun.
good one. It'd be
It
interesting.
should be a good one, yeah. Engine Shed. Almost. When I describe them to people, I always describe them as being an innovation hub for Bristol. They're run by the what's it called, Science Research Foundation, at the University of Bristol. It came off from the Set Squared thing that goes on there. But effectively, what they do is they help out startups and businesses and stimulate growth in the Bristol area. They're based in the Temple Meads Quarter too. I've been reading about these guys. It's actually kind of cool. They had a really quick turnaround on it, and I think, well,
You can
they
just-
have all sorts of really interesting projects, really diverse stuff. So stuff from like social enterprise style stuff through to very much art projects. There's one quite interesting one. I can't remember what it's called, but I'll see if I can find a link.
I mean, like they do ultra haptics.
Ultra Haptics is a very big
It's sort of
one,
like a
but,
leap
yeah.
motion style. So
It's touch without there being anything there.
yeah,
It's
you
like
can
ultrasonic.
feel it,
Yeah.
feel the things.
So
in the
touch
air
in midair.
without touching physically.
Which we actually tried. Well, we didn't actually. We tried to try, but unfortunately, it was out of action when we
Yeah.
went to visit Kinnear Dufour,
Yeah.
a design company who work with Ultra Haptics.
Yeah, like originally I thought the engine shed was the M shed. Do you know what the M shed is? Because I keep running, I
No, I do
keep
know what
running
the M
past
shed
it on
is.
my runs. You know, it's Harborside.
Yeah, I know where Shed is. It's
I
a
don't know what it is. It has like a restaurant or something.
it's a museum all about Bristol.
Okay.
For some reason, I feel like I should have known that. I mean, I've heard the phrase Shed loads of times before. For some reason, it's because I think I got it slightly mixed up with Embargo, which is a club.
I mean, yeah,
Oh, cool.
maybe we can look.
So we'll look into Shed. That sounds cool. Try and speak to the curator there or something.
Hmm.
Whew. Okay. Shall we cut it off there then?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say? Have we got a YouTube channel yet?
Yeah, we do. So by the time this is up, I will upload. I think I'm gonna start uploading them maybe daily or something. Because right now we've the podcast you're listening to them. They're on through the RSS feed through iTunes or TuneIn. But I've made a YouTube channel and there's currently no video on it. And there won't be for the time being. But it'll just be audio only. There'll be some sort of logo.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll upload that kind of daily, so maybe the next episode we release after this one will be kind of released at the same time with YouTube.
Yeah.
So
We're trying to make it such that mere mortals who don't have access to the RSS feed links can listen to us. Which would be great,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes.
I come on, I can see where people come from. Well, I'll listen to stuff on YouTube, but then, I don't know, when it comes to iTunes and TuneIn, I'm like, seems like a lot of effort to listen to a podcast. But then a YouTube video, like, hey, I can kill 10 minutes. Or
yeah, I
2
mean,
hours, it's
maybe
still steady.
eventually, hopefully eventually we'll upgrade to video.
Hopefully. Let's get another mic first, though.
Yeah, we need another.
We will get another mic.
extra mic.
Yeah, if you want us to get better sound quality, please ask other people to subscribe, because that would be really great.
Yeah, so
And then
if
we'll
you
get another one.
if you go into iTunes, well, you're probably listening to it on iTunes. So if you just make sure you subscribe, that helps us a lot. And if you can always leave a review.
Yeah.
That's what helps us get noticed, kind of through the iTunes store. But yeah, if you also remember to subscribe if you can, and follow us on Twitter. We're at Bristol_Real, and on Facebook, if you just search for Bristol Real in the search bar, we should come up.
Have a great week.
That's about it. Yeah.
There you go, yeah. Alright, see you next week, guys.